Sit atop a mountain, listen with a soup can. In the South, he's not a liar, just the leader of a bad band that in Europe get together and in secret praise the people. My granddad fought in the lowlands, at the Scheldt got shot to pieces so they could rehash their allegiance to a national convenience that preys on easy difference. You know, fear, it's just a weakness. And yeah, it's been one of them years. The poor that a pity, but only from a distance. Pull on your tender heartstrings, the price of an everyday existence. And the Lazarus was wrong. Fuck your team and huddled parasitics. Somehow kids from Nicaragua, where they're invading West Virginia. Maybe they're looking farly north. Maybe what you got, you get it in you. I seem to remember things that mattered, that no longer count as anything. Yeah, it's been one of them years. Baby, you're just getting shorter. Never mind the science, them vaccinations cause dysphoria. And them pictures of the planet adopted so it looks like a place akin to heaven, but only from a distance. Nobody likes your headscarf, but they wear masks and the resistance. Either way, forget the answers, since we perfected pointing fingers. And yeah, it's been one of them years. You can only fool the people the other half the time we're sleeping. So that's pretty much the bag, and bag men never won for reasons. So transform the house, cause the house always wins. And baby, you know that I've wasted a lot of time just thinking, when thinking's overrated compared to reactionary blinking. So I'm just sitting here reflecting on the things I could have done. And yeah, it's been one of them years. Yeah, it's been one of them years. Sit atop a mountain, listen with a soup can for a distant whistle by a dog so he can. Yeah, it's been one of them years.
All right, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another We Read the Documents live stream. I'm your host, John Brisson. This one's been a long time coming. That's right, everybody. Hope you're doing well. This will be probably the final part. Maybe, maybe not. The Atlantean Great Reset versus the Continental Great Awakening on Aleksandr Dugin. And with me this fine day is my research partner, fellow brother in Christ, S90. What you doing? I know you're out
I'm
there.
doing all right now. I seem to have picked up mannerisms from studying them for so long. His problem, I think, yes?
Yes, very big problem.
You go out in public, people throw rocks at you these days. Anyway, how's it going, guys?
I'm doing good, So today We're really going to get really going to get into some interesting things. It's interesting discussions. And shout out to I Read Old Magazines. What's up? What's going on? I want to thank you for your research in this a long time ago. I want to thank Jesse Spots. I want to thank Sway Guevara. Oh, did that come out of my mouth? I don't know if that should have came out of my mouth or not.
Uh-oh.
But I still have to give him props, though, nonetheless. I have to, because he was on Dugin.
Yeah.
Among many others. So here we are. And we're going to get into some really interesting tidbits of things that I've been talking about the past few weeks. And does Aleksandr Dugin, is it, you know, I used to say everything was Alan Morton Dershowitz, but there's a possibility that everything's Aleksandr Dugin. What do you think about that S90? Is he behind everything? Huh? Did we lose S90?
Sorry, my internet's having hiccups here and there.
PPP.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So so it's interesting how it's interesting how this show, all the information from this show, came from the Google search that's on the screen right now. For your show on the Lucius Trust and the plan, you'd asked me and just said, just look into Lucius Trust, the plan. So I just did that search that you see right there, and it auto-completed with the plan, and it put the plan above, you know, the Great Convocation, or
yes, the Great Invocation.
I had it on 1/4 bandwidth. The Great Invocation. Anyway, so it seems to be worth more to them. Anyway, so I was looking into the plan, and I came across a book called The Divine Plan for the New Era, The Plan for Our Earth, from July 2nd, 2019. And
so let me read the beginning of that. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Humanity as a whole is pushed into the Aquarian era by the divine plan. Its future depends on the free choice of each woman and each man who constitutes it to implement the energy of goodwill, divine love, and action. Humanity must unite as one man and make the beauty of the plan shine our beautiful planet for the greater good of the many. This is her role as a medium between the spiritual reign and the subhuman kingdoms to the new group of world servers, the global networks of triangles, and can count on unwavering support of Christ and his disciples, the master of wisdom. Spiritual hierarchy. This book was conceived as a synthesis of the practical tools from the teachings that Alice Ann Bailey, 1880 to 1949, received through mental telepathy and published by Lucius Trust Publishing, which is former Lucifer Trust. At the request of the master DJ Will Cole, DK, member of the spiritual hierarchy of our planet from 1919 to 1949. Publisher, Blessed Hope Publishing, July 2nd, 2019. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, my internet was cutting out while you were doing that. But yeah, Joel Cool, the I believe that's Anne Bailey and Blavatsky and Theosophy and all that good stuff, right?
Yes.
So in searching for the plan, I came across this book here, and I thought it was interesting. So I just I was looking for a PDF copy of the book, and I wasn't looking for Dugin stuff. Anyway, so I was interested in the author there, Alain Bousquet. I don't know French, I'm sorry. And so in looking for him, I couldn't find anything on Alain Bousquet. But if you pull up the next picture that I've got, I can't see whether or not I see you, not the.
Hold on, I can make that happen.
Sorry, sorry, I just don't know where we're at.
No, that was my bad. So we are
okay.
on I brought up Alan D. Benoit et Francois Bousquet.
Yes, so it's a memoir vive, so it's like life memories of Francois Bousquet, written by Alain de Benoit. So I was like, oh, okay, here we go, right? So it's a moniker of Alain and Bousquet, right? So I was like, oh, so this is two people. So I look it up, and on the French Wikipedia page, we've got Francois Bousquet, essayist, and so I translated that. He is a editor-in-chief of Elements magazine, which is a European French bi-monthly journal. It is part of the New Right and the Extreme Right. So, okay, fantastic. Oh, there we go. Yeah, yeah.
There's him.
Yeah.
And so he is a collaborator with Patrick Brisson, which is another way of actually saying Brisson, which is my last name. It's another way of saying it. So Patrick Brisson, even though mine is spelled Brisson, Buisson is just another pronunciation or spelling of it in English. So yeah, Patrick Brisson and Alain de Benoist. So
Thank you. You could be our French correspondent
no, I'm
here.
horrible in French.
got a
I'm probably even butchering his name, but
Better than I am, though. Unless I am doing the JF voice, but that is not for this show.
So here we have
yes,
Elements Review.
Yes. So that's just the magazine he works for. It just says, is the official journal of GRECE, which is the Research and Study Group for European Civilization. And it's part of the quote-unquote new right and quote-unquote extreme right, whatever. And then when I heard the name Alain de Benoist, I thought to myself, I've heard his name somewhere before. I swear Dugin's mentioned him. In his English Wikipedia page, you'll see right there under influenced, you've got Dugin. So, okay, fantastic.
Okay.
So that's
his notable idea
great.
is the modernization and secularization of Christian values. So he sounds like he's a true Christian writing that New Age book. Am I right, guys?
Sure thing, yeah, for the Lucius Trust.
And I've heard of this. I've actually heard of this guy's myself. Not So this is. I didn't know he was connected to Dugin like this, but I ran across him when I was researching myself, the Lucius Trust, and his ideas are kind of similar, very much to Barbara Marx Hubbard's ideas. Of course, they all come from Mystery Babylon. They're all getting it from Satan, but still, nonetheless, it's still a continuation of that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, no, you didn't interrupt me. Not at all. Not at all. It's always good to have the back and forth here. So the next thing we've got is, just the Wikipedia for GRECE. There's not terribly too much that's interesting in here. It's just, founding member Alain de Benoist. In the second category here, it says GRECE is deeply opposed to multiculturalism, liberal democracy, capitalism, and distinguishes itself from other national conservative organizations in its specific rejection of Christianity and endorsement of neo-paganism. So I'll just let that speak for itself there and move on to the next thing.
Just let that speak for itself.
Next up, I've got a JSTOR. So then I found a JSTOR, article on JSTOR here, and it's called A Conversation with Alain de Benoist. And during the interview, that's just the front page, so people can check it out if they're interested. The next picture is just a quick thing here. The AV is the interviewer. It says, "You have some personal familiarity with Aleksandr Dugin. Could you comment on the significances of your view of his political and cultural agenda and on his books, notably The Fourth Political Theory? What do you think about his notions of Eurasia and of the Eurasian Imperium?" That's a key word too. Do you think he should be taken seriously? If so, what do you see as valuable to his work? Now, there's about 3 long pages of this. We don't really need to, there's not too much of interest, but it says, "I made the acquaintance of Aleksandr Dugin in 1990, and I have been meeting him many times ever since in Russia, France, and elsewhere." Okay. So awesome. Yay. So then there's a couple pages of that in the interview. Not really a massive deal. Found a picture of the two of them.
So he knew him back when he was in his Crowleyan days, you would say, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know him back
prior even to the weird show that we showed where there were people on burning crosses and stuff. That was even before that. The satanic expression that was. So go back, look previous in the series. And so this guy's writing about the plan, and there's one second here. I have a second picture here. Copy image, paste. There you go. Just a couple pictures of them. Benoist, Dugin, whatever. Nothing too incredible. Just pictures people might not have seen before. A couple of them. Just put them on screen for a second. And we do want to also say there's a few people that helped us with this. I don't know if you want your name to be known. So whoever you are, thank you very much. Yes, and those will be factored in a little bit because they came later, and the revelations they brought as early as this morning. People were dropping information as early as this morning. I didn't have time to watch all of it yet, so who knows what that might fourth show.
Alain was also influenced by Julius Evola, right?
Yes.
And looking at you, Oswald Spengler. So I just want to make that known. All right, continue.
No. So you've shown off the pictures. I put a quick quote from a book by Mark Sedgwick. I don't have the exact title of that on hand right now, but he says, the result of this combination was the geopolitical philosophy underlying Dugin's 1997 Geopolitical Foundations. The book which, as has been noted, first drew public attention to him. The same geopolitical revision of the traditionalism forms the basic creed of the Eurasian movement, which has been modified further to accommodate perspectives associated with the Western New Right, and especially with the French writer Alain de Benoit. So, okay. So not only are they, they meet, they talk. Okay. You can see their influences on each other's work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. So the research kind of stalled at that point for a little bit. I found we'd shown a lot of clips. For instance, we showed, let me grab the clip. Sorry. We showed this one. We showed this clip in our last show, and it was him talking about something about like Constantinople and turning Hagia Sophia Christian again and stuff. We don't have to rewatch it, but it was from this conversation. So there was this one here. So I found the full length of that. That was actually him talking around a table centered by Sheikh Imran Hussein, which is the guy that Wahid Azal, who we also played clips of in that same playlist that you were just on. We had remember there was the Mason talking to the Sufi cleric, and he was saying like his wife had been assassinated by Dugin, and then all of a sudden the Masons started talking about the Earth Mother Ahura Mazda and stuff, and it was like, what is happening? Wahid Azal does not like Sheikh Imran Hussein, and I'm assuming that hour-long interview is, so people can look into that if that's of interest to them. So that's a lovely, so you'll see, Imran Hussein talks most of the time, and then at the back you see there's a table full of people, and there's Dugin.
Dugin's right next to him. Aleksandr Dugin. Yeah.
So I found the full-length version of what that was. I was sent this clip of Dale Husband, who Wahid Azal had been talking about taking down Dugin with, right? And apparently Wahid Azal betrayed him, and apparently Wahid is allegedly, a racist, and he's a supremacist of his own sort, right? And so there's a lot of infighting and weirdness going on. Should I play this clip? I wouldn't bother. It's pretty much just him saying like, I was stabbed in the back and treated like he basically said that Wahid acted like he's like, all white people are bad, but you're one of the good ones, right? And that was sort of, he felt like that was the attitude that Wahid had treated him as, to sum it up.
Okay.
But I thought that was a development since our last show. And the last clip that I found more information about that we'd played was the really awful one that I just sent you. We don't need to rewatch it. I think everybody got the clue last time. But you remember this clip, everyone, right? So I found out more information about this clip. A lot more.
I gotta play just a second of it real quick, just to remind people.
You can play it while
and of course, in there you have Dugin reciting Crowley. Okay.
Don't even. That's literally the least of our problems at this point.
Oh no. Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Yeah, really.
Oh no.
Yeah, really. So, right. Okay, so found out more about what this was, whatever was because we didn't know what this was. We were just like, who is this? Who's that? Who's this? Where are they? Where's this occurring? When? So randomly looking, I found this photo, and I thought to myself, that looks like the dude in the blue suit who holds up his lighter and says, "Oh, hold up your lighters for Crowley."
Oh yeah, it does look like
it is him. It is him.
Did you read off the paper? Oh, okay.
It is him. Yes.
Wow, okay.
So and at first I wasn't sure it was him, but I did my cross-referencing and all that. So there's some interesting stuff here. If Discord, well, there we go. Yeah. So his name is Sergei Kurokin. He is a filmmaker and a musician. Was a filmmaker and a musician.
Kind of.
He's like a Russian Bill Hicks.
I was about to say that, but he also kind of looks like John Ronson too a little bit. I don't know. More Hicks than Ronson for sure.
Huh.
But it's like if Hickson and Ronson, if Bill Hicks, and John Ronson had a child. But go ahead. I'm sorry. It's just.
No, it is pretty funny, and so sorry, I was just saying hi to chat because I've been ignoring them. Sorry, everybody. So in looking into Sergei Krokin, I'm totally butchering his name. I found out that there was a little thing he had done back in the 90s called. He got on TV. Now imagine this is post-Soviet Russia, and he gets on TV and he delivers a speech inspired by Carlos Castaneda, which is it's not directly in this video, but it is in a lot of books about this subject. He delivers a speech about how Lenin was a mushroom. Lenin ascended to become a mushroom, like a psychedelic mushroom. God. Okay. And it was all Carlos Castaneda. And ultimately and admittedly, it was all a hoax. It was a quote unquote art project, but it has very LARPy kind of vibes to it. This guy was definitely, he wanted to be avant-garde in his own words, right? Avant-garde. And he wanted to be counterculture in his own words. He'd strove for that during Soviet Russia. And his art took a certain form in that period. And then after the fall of the Soviet Empire, what was avant-garde then was no longer. And so he adopted different methods of being quirky and look at me, I'm so different, right? So it's kind of cringe, but whatever. So Lenin was a mushroom. It's so important, and I put quotation marks, that it literally has its own English language Wikipedia page. Short, but kind of interesting. And I was wrong about the date. It was done on 17th January 1991. So was the Soviet Empire even gone then?
Let me see the exact date.
Lenin was a mushroom would get you put in a gulag. That's just my guess.
Dissolved December 22nd, 1991. So yes, it was Soviet Union. Yes.
Okay, so interesting. Was he contributing to the breakup of the Soviet Union with his art? Anyway, whatever.
I don't know. Whatever.
Curious.
Whatever.
Interesting. So
he also brings up the MIT too, as well, right?
Yeah. Yes, I believe so too. At some point, let me see here.
And Konstantin and.
Tsiolkovsky. Yes, Konstantin Tsiolkovsky was the Soviet rocket scientist who pioneered astronautic theory.
Anything like Alan Parsons? Anything like was the Russian Alan Parsons, or am I off?
I'm just looking. I didn't even bother click.
Because to me, every time we're talking about rocketry here.
Yeah.
He supported the Bolshevik revolution. Was eager to promote science and technology.
Tsiolkovsky influenced later rocket scientists throughout Europe, like Wernher von Braun.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Wow. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so I didn't even go down that avenue. I'll do that later. So anyway, Lenin was a mushroom, and MIT and Carlos Castaneda were his sources, as well as Tsiolkovsky. Anyway, his art was, look at me, I'm so quirky and different. Well, it's funny because someone sent me
Did
this.
I say Alan Parsons? I meant Jack Parsons. You guys know what I meant.
Yeah.
I for some reason always get Alan Parsons and Jack. I know Alan Parsons had a band, I think.
Chad's going to cancel us now.
Yeah, baby, thank you for laughing at me. I deserve that. It was an accident. I meant to say Jack Parsons. Of course, L. Ron Hubbard.
John's turning into a mushroom.
Babylon working. No, I'm not. My brain might be turning into a mushroom.
So someone sent me this.
Okay, Beetlegeese to start. Beetlegeese?
No. If you refresh it so that you get the thumbnail. Just refresh, press F5, refresh the page, and hopefully auto plays off. Whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's an album. Go down and read the description. Someone sent me this. You know who you are.
Putin is. I'm not going to say God because I can't read the description for it. It won't let me. Oh, no. There it goes. Okay.
Oh, there. Okay.
Hans Sievers, stage name of Aleksandr Dugin, under which in the 1980s he made several dozen recordings in the genre of art song. The main theme of the text and symbiosis of Gothic surrealism, Soviet reality, and European literary traditions.
Okay. So, a couple questions arise from that, don't you think?
I mean, this is a song about beetle geese, so yeah, go ahead.
I'll send you a picture, and you can just pull that up on screen. We won't leave that up too long. The imagery is going to be somewhat
long
disturbing.
enough for people to understand. Okay, look, if you got sensibilities, go a minute or two ahead. But this is important. All right, if you got any sensibilities, if you got weak stomach, guard yourself. Pray yourself up.
Spiritual shields up.
Yes. Put the full armor of God on. Ask God to protect you. Jesus Christ protect you, because this is something. All right, you ready? Yeah, I'll give you fair warning.
Yay! Hans Sievers, The Blood Libel, 1986. Hans Sievers is the creative pseudonym of Aleksandr Dugin, under which in the 80s he published dozens of audio recordings in the genre of the author's song, blah, blah. It's pretty much the same, but yeah, the pink cocaine tickles your nose tightly.
Now,
nicely. I can barely read.
Hans Sievers.
Oh, we're getting to him.
Okay.
We're getting to him. So isn't that fun? Isn't that just fun chat? Like, let that soak in for a minute. That is just.
I mean, that's great, right? It's nothing wrong to see here, all right? Of course, I'm being facetious. You're being facetious too. It's horrible. It's horrific.
Yeah.
It's satanic. It's disgusting.
Nothing. So let's find out who Sievers is. Who Hans Sievers is.
Hans Sievers.
In a book, I find this quote here, and it says, okay. So it says. A complete persona and alter ego. This is a painstakingly composed from as many antisocial elements as its creator could find. A total and malevolent rebellion, not just against the Soviet Union, but against convention and public taste as a whole. His namesake, Wolfram Sievers, had been
Reichswaffenführer.
Something or director of the Ahnenerbe, the Nazi organization set up by Heinrich Himmler to study esoteric and paranormal phenomena.
Now, hold on, can I say a minute? This interim there. Mm-hmm. When I used to be a white nationalist, I used to listen to the Right Stuff, and they had a paranormal show that was done by Johnny Monoxide, and it was called the Ahnenerbe Hour. So yeah, I knew all about this stuff back then. Like as soon as you said Hans Sievers, I was like, wait a minute. I mean, you have to admit, even I was like, I think I know what this is. So, oh Lord, thank God you delivered me from this.
Houstonic in the chat, hello brother, and he says, looks like a family-friendly album, and I think Dugin is a fantastic Christian, and that America's the great Satan, and that he will save us from our failings, and that he will institute a real kingdom of God on earth as orthodoxy teaches.
Well, yes.
As Jay Dyer taught me, right? Like Jay Dyer has been saying that on his show. That's what he says about the kingdom comes down or something.
There's not much difference. There's not much difference between Jay Dyer's beliefs when he was a Protestant under Council for National Policy member, Rushdoony's tutelage, R.J. Rushdoony's tutelage, as there is being an Orthodox. There's not much difference between the two, may I add. And I mean, yes, Christ's kingdom will, when the earth is recreated. I mean, when the millennial reign happens, yes, Christ will bring his kingdom down here on earth and reign for 1,000 years. Yes, I'm a literalist, bite me. I believe in a literal millennial reign. And and then eventually the new earth and the new Jerusalem, when the earth is destroyed and remade after the final battle, after Jesus and God defeat Satan. But there's a difference between Jesus doing it
and man
doing it.
All right, I just want to point out two things. One thing, Bebe in the chat says, if your family is the Manson family, don't worry, Bebe. We'll get to the Manson family in a bit in a show about Dugin. And then Luis Gonzalez.
Yeah, J. Dyer.
Dugin.
I'm well aware of that. I'm aware of that, and I made note of that. However, when I asked him in his Discord, you platform boosted Dugin twice and used to pal around with him, and even I read old magazines held Dyer to task. You can go watch his videos on Dyer. Dyer was like, "Well, ain't my problem." Like, Bo, yeah, it is.
Well,
yeah,
and at one point,
it's your problem. So
live on one of his shows, when someone mentioned it, he said that he had done it to ambush Dugin. So I don't
was the
know.
case, why didn't
Whatever.
he hold
Anyway,
him to
I
the-
shouldn't have.
No. Why didn't he hold him to task when he interviewed him? If that's what he was going to do, why didn't he do that?
I don't know, but
because Dyer is a Russophile. He's a Russophile.
well, I shouldn't have dragged us off topic into the whole thing, but that does lurk around all of this chat. You make up your own mind, you do your own research on that, and yeah. Anyway, I didn't want to drag. It was an accident. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything.
We didn't finish it. So the lyrics composed by Dugin and Sievers
Yes.
were both clever and composed to achieve maximum shock value. They're mainly inspired by 19th century author Isidore Lucien Ducasse, aka the Comte de Latremont, whose Malador verses were taken up by 20th century surrealists. Malador was a chronicle.
Maldoror was the chronicler.
Maldoror, yes.
Yeah. That's why I didn't read this. It's not
ahead.
important. But this little bit's not important anyway.
Okay.
So the next thing I was going to go to was so I looked up. So I was like, Wolfram Sievers. So I looked up Wolfram Sievers' little page there, and I think I just put everything out of order. Yes, I did. I'm stupid. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring that one
Oswald in the
first.
chat. I really don't think Dyer is a Russophile so much as he is a grifter. Okay, fair point. Continue.
Yeah, pay Piggy. Don't make me go back to my job. Yeah, it plays that every show now. Kind of annoying. Anyway, let's get out of the mud here. So that was the wrong page. Bring up the next one I sent of the wiki for. So this is, I just
Wolfram Sievers.
Wolfram Sievers. Yeah. So he looks like a wolf. He looks like like a werewolf hunter or something, right? Anyway, so I looked him up. Not a lot really drew my interest, except for that he was assigned to study something I'd never heard of. And I like geology and archaeology and ancient history. That's one of probably my top 3 favorite subjects. And I'd never heard of this. And so he was studying a rock formation in Germany. So you can go back to the other one now, called the Externstein. And I was like, oh, what's this? I've never heard of this. I look, and it's basically a bunch of caves cut into some weirdly shaped rocks in Germany that seem to have like pagan significance. If you go back to the other wiki page I sent before with the rocks. Sorry. Yeah, so Wolfram Sievers, in his job at the Ahnenerbe for the Nazis, was sort of the paranormal hunter. And he was sent to this place, Exerzstein, to study the rock formations and kind of prove the Nazi hypothesis about their people, right? So reading about this, one of the interesting things that stood out about this site is that Externstein is identified as a sacred site to the pagan Saxons, and the reputed, I add the word reputed, but Wikipedia says, and the location of the Irminsul idol, reportedly destroyed by Charlemagne. Now, the Irminsul, if I send you this here, the Irminsul is essentially the Saxon great pillar, or kind of like representation of the world tree, the Mayflower pole, whatever you want to call it, right? And this is supposedly the end of Germanic paganism after the temple was raided and all the pagans were killed by Charlemagne and Christianity was brought to Germany. So the Germans were fascinated in this site. And this is kind of, a lot of these people who are Christians today and idolize people in the past, I think some people think these guys were really Christians, or like, I don't know, maybe some people. Anyway,
who were?
I'm thinking that, some people today might be deluded insofar as they're thinking like, oh, the Nazis were.
Okay. Well, they weren't. They were
right.
They were cultists.
Yeah, they were absolutely not. No, absolutely. And one of the symbols.
Okay, let's take that back. Not every single person who was in the National Socialist Party. There were probably Christians who were.
Of course.
We have to. I do have to make that. But
have faith in the individual.
However, the high echelons, the Ahnenerbe, Hitler's inner circle, the people around him, people high up in the SS. Yeah, they were not. All right, let's do it.
Absolutely not. So, I put a quick picture of a rune or whatever in Discord for you. It's the sort of the logo of the Irminsul, the world tree or whatever. And this does kind of factor into what we're looking at here. It's nothing special. So just hold that up there, and then at the Externstein place that the Sievers guy was researching, there's this carved into the mountain face, and it's Jesus being brought down from the cross. And there's what people describe as an ornate chair. You'll see it to the right there, but that's the bent version of what the Nazis used.
Yeah, it is.
For their logo, and that's carved into the mountain at this Externstein location. So I thought that was interesting. In the description of the site too, it says inside the older caves, older than that inscription, inside the older caves, it says, the Grottenfels contain a man-made grotto of 3 chambers connected by passages. Above the entrance to the main chamber is a carving unlike the others here. It is not a bas relief, but simply cut in stone in the form of what appears to be a winged creature. I can't find any pictures. I can't find any video. If anyone's ever able to find me a picture of what that wing, I'd just be interested for my own personal interest. Anyway, so the Nazis really were interested in this weird site and the tree. And if you go here, they've on Anerby, just you can look, they're using runes and whatnot for their logos. So these people were pagans. And if you look too, there's a couple pictures here of the top of the Externstein. There's kind of like a pagan temple up there. And if you click on one link, you'll see you just look at their logo, some runes. It doesn't matter. Basically, that's what they were interested in. Here's a shrine at the top of that place, and you can see these symbols. That looks like the Lucius Trust logo on the top right there, and Ankh, something else. Anyway, and then the second set I sent you, they have been ground off.
Okay. Now remember the Mountain Jews supposedly taught they had an Anerby the secrets of the Kabbalah. So.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So yeah, you can see they've been kind of washed away, ground off there, those symbols that someone had put on there, right? So that's kind of important later. Just keep that in your mind. So those are the old ones, and it's also interesting that Kenneth Anger filmed his film Lucifer Rising there.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
And don't forget that Bobby Beausoleil, who did the sound for the music for that film, went on to be with the Manson family. So that's always fun. So, oh my God, this world's a mess, isn't it?
Yes, very much so.
So if we keep, so looking more into Sievers, his tutor was basically this guy, Friedrich Hischler, whatever. Anyway, Friedrich Hischler is a German intellectual involved in the conservative revolutionary movement during Weimar Republic and in the German resistance during the Nazi era. He was the founder of an esoteric neo-pagan movement, the UFK, the Independent Free Church. That's way at the top. Further down, though, when I'm looking at Wolfram Sievers' case, he got tried at the Nuremberg trials. And his defense was, I was a spy for the resistance, and I took this job so I could assassinate Hitler. And I was like, okay. Well, Friedrich Hischler went to jail for Project Valkyrie to try and assassinate Hitler. And at his trial, first of all, when Friedrich Hischler was arrested by the Germans for trying to assassinate Hitler, Wolfram Sievers got him out of jail and saved his life. What are the odds of that? You just tried to blow him up, and they're going to let you go because of that dude? Anyway, so when Wolfram Sievers goes to trial in Nuremberg, his defense is, I was with the resistance, I blah, blah, blah. Friedrich Hischler gets on the stand and says, yes, he was part of the resistance. I told him to do this, blah, blah, blah. He still gets the death penalty. I thought that was curious. Everyone else from the Anerby got out alive except for him. And it seems like he might have actually been, given the testimony, maybe he really was like a quote unquote resistance officer, in which case I wonder about Operation Paperclip. I wonder if the people who were executed were the ones who were not ideologically in line, and then the rest who were like, oh yeah, these guys are really in line with the plan. Okay, bring them over to America. You know what I mean?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Weed out any spies in their party and bring it to America and continue the experiment in America. I don't know. That just popped in my head. Anyway, so Wolfram Sievers, interesting story, interesting character, weird stuff. Apparently, when he was led to the gallows, they read the Tibetan Book of the Dead over him after he died. So, that kind of goes hand in hand with all the stuff from Tibet. And he there's so many books about this. There's so many claims about all this. You've got Invisible Eagle by Alan Baker making claims that he had the Holy Lance of Longinus and brought it to Hitler. You've got Rise of the Fourth Reich by Jim Marrs saying that he...
Scientologist Jim Marrs, but go ahead.
Yeah, yes, of course. And saying that he had a wagon train of gold going across the Pyrenees. And so there's a lot of really interesting, weird stories. And he's used by conspirology culture a lot in their books. We don't really need to worry too much about that. I want to bring up two more things before we get back to Dugin. I promise this makes sense. First was that a rumor I heard while researching all of this. Someone had claimed that the shape of runes came from the movement of stars in certain areas of the sky over the course of a year. Something called the winter hexagon, formed by 6 stars in the sky. And that all of the shapes of the runes can be, like I said, related to the movement of stars in the sky. I have no idea. Yeah, I thought that was it. Maybe someone in chat could maybe help me out a bit if you know anything. Who knows? Anyway. But speaking of runes, this story from a random person's WordPress, not the best source of information, but interesting nonetheless. They visited the Externstein twice, and they can read Saxon runes. So they go, and the tour guide asks them, can you read this rock in 2003? So they said, sure, yeah. And then they read it. And the translation's not important. It's really banal and not really that important at the time. If you scroll down, though, John, they went back later, not that picture, that one. They went back in 2012, I believe, and quote unquote, to their dismay, some of the runes had changed. To my distress, the edges of the runes had changed between 2003 and 2012. Then they are indistinguishable from the originals, and the surface of the entire rock has an even patina of age from the base of the rock to the top. It seems unlikely that it would be possible for someone to repeatedly replicate the patina and aging of the original lines so exactly on newly carved lines of the inscription. It is even more unlikely that older lines could be erased without a trace. And while the inscription is on the steep face of the stones, it faces the visitor's center and the main path through the site. It is also only a few feet from the path to the top of the on top of the Exerstein in a public park visited by thousands of people each year. Okay, so that was strange. So the person then said, because I was not aware of any photographs from 1992, and because it had not occurred to me that the inscriptions were changing, I had not pursued anyway, scroll down. They found an old diagram from 1992.
Okay.
And another one of the runes in these pictures had changed, changing what it means. And it says the lowest rune shape from the second column to the left is clearly different from the rune shape in that position in 2003 and 2012. This inscription describes the circumstances that call for the rebirth of the once and future king. Weird. So people are going around vandalizing ancient sites and changing prophecies and stuff so that they align with far-right pagan wannabe Christianity or something? Is that kind of what is...
Okay.
Is that what I'm seeing here? Because I've long thought that people are vandalizing history and inserting their own story into it so they can later claim something. And that, unfortunately, I mean, you can pull up the two photos. You and I both looked at the photos. They changed the rune in the top left from an L shape to an arrow shape. And then before that, they changed this weird bar and line to a tree shape, and it changes everything about it. So people are vandalizing history, and it seems very specific, and it seems very professionally done as to confound this archaeologist, right? Saying how did they replicate the aging on the rock and everything. So I thought that was curious, and that's at that same site again. curious. So, yeah, so he named himself after Wolfram Sievers, and I went down a whole rabbit hole of junk on that. But let's get back to where we were here. Remember that, let me go back to my clips. Just put that in chat for you so we can go back to that. So, this.
Okay.
This is already starting to make a bit more sense, I'm sure, to chat. It's already starting to, oh dear, right? Like, there's a pattern forming here, isn't there? So, there was a book called It Will Be Fun and Terrifying by Fabrizio Fenghi. And he talks about his choice of nickname. And he says, allegedly, Dugin chose this nickname for himself when he asked Limonov to co-found the NPB, or National Bolshevik Party. In Dugin's vision, Limonov was to be the leader, the man of action, while Dugin would be the ideologist of the party, like Merlin at the court of King Arthur. Dugin has frequently combined political theory with art and public performance, which has often involved the use of his very hypnotic and distinct voice. Starting in the 1980s, he wrote and recorded several songs under the pseudonym Hans Sievers, yada, yada, yada. It says, which is not just a stage name, it is a complete persona and alter ego. And then that's the article that we were reading. And then, so here we go. So right here. So in 1995, it turns out he wrote something called The Manifesto of the New Wizards with that Sergei Kuryokin, the guy with the glasses who said, raise your lighters to Crowley.
Can you hold on for a minute? Anybody
Sure,
in the chat that has moderator status, Bay and the Chaos Magicians are back again. Okay? So just, when you're talking about this subject, whether it's McChrystal or Dugin, the Chaos Magicians show up. All right? So just ban them, please. All right. Go ahead.
Alrighty. Yeah, go figure, eh? Interesting. Oh, no, interesting. I've run into this before. It's a bot. Anyway, so he wrote the Manifesto of the New Wizards, Dugin and Kuryokin did. And so one of our esteemed research partners was able to get a copy of it because Google literally wouldn't show it to me. Don't know why. Thought we were supposed to be against this guy. Anyway. So if you pull that up, yeah, so Aleksandr Dugin and Sergei Kuryokin, the Manifesto of the New Magi, it's kind of cringe. You can tell they're both still a bit immature while they're writing it. What do we got here? The new type is, point 8, the new type is not a politician or artist dealing with magic, but the new magus engaged in politics and art. All forms of, point 9, all forms of art and all political ideologies have their occult parallels in operative magic. Paintings emerged as worldly depictions of the gods and symbolic signs. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Whatever, dude. The new scholars of art and the new political scientists will not be separate people. They will be the new magi. All of this is being carried out and conceptualized by the new magi, blah, blah, blah. The new magi affirm their art and carry out social coups. They specialize in geopolitics, large-scale science, and they subjugate the elements. This is point 17. They tame the Atlantic Leviathan and feed the Continental Behemoth.
Hold up.
That's
nice,
what? Isn't it?
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Point 17. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The new magi's tame the Atlantic Leviathan and feed the Continental Behemoth. Oh, great. Okay. The minimum social scale of the new magic is a country, people, state, or legions of human masses. Great. That's nice. The new magic deals with the phenomenon of the gigantic, a la Martin Heidegger. 18, our aims will become clear only when people begin to participate in our practice, whether actively or passively as subjects or objects. Magic solves all gnosiological problems through praxis, like Marxism. 20, we operate the abysses. These people are, anyway, whatever. So yeah, we'll just, whatever, next. Next. I got some pictures here of just a quick speech
Hold on.
to Dugin.
Give me one. Give me one.
Okay,
second.
yeah, I can't let you not comment on all that. I'm gonna go get some water.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to find the part. It's another stream I'm gonna do, so I don't really want to discuss it in too terrible too much. It's terrible. Too much depth right now. I'm trying to find it. Here we go. So this is from Kabbalah Secrets. Every Christians Need to Know. Deanne Loper's book. I think this is a start. Yeah, this is good enough. We can start here. Okay. The word Dayat means knowledge, awareness, or connection. In Kabbalah, the abyss of Dayat represents mankind's loss of knowledge, and it is Leviathan, the holy serpent, who will restore knowledge to humanity. The Jewish sages say that Leviathan is a Torah code word for universal consciousness and never-ending knowledge. One contemporary rabbi says Leviathan is the light of pure consciousness, and that this God consciousness of Leviathan will return full circle to the original light of Genesis. This will come in the form of the new Torah and the ultimate feast of knowledge in the time to come. In the world to come, the righteous will recline with their crowns and their heads, basking in the pleasure of the radiance of God's presence. The holy serpent, say the rabbis, is the fountainhead, root, and essence of all God's sacred revelatory light. The primordial serpent, the snake of Gan Eden, the Leviathan, the penetrating ray of light emanating from Ein Sof, and the supernal Dayat of the Godhead are different dimensions of divine consciousness. Leviathan is depicted as the Ouroboros. The serpent with its tail and its mouth represents the devouring serpent covering the earth. It signifies the completion of an age and the return to Tekim Olam, or to repair of the world. The Theosophical Society's website, an esoteric branch of Kabbalah, states the area inside the serpent's circle represents the whole universe and everything in it. Of course, the area inside is the star of Remfram with an Ankh in the middle of it. In the book of Job, Leviathan is called a king over all the children of pride. In Kabbalah, Leviathan is worshipped as a sacred serpent and is a bridge across the abyss of Dat that connects the man to the divine. Yeah, what were you going to say?
The Ankh was on that Eksternstein place, and
Yep.
it was important to Aquino. Like, that stuff shows up a lot more. It was in Kenneth Anger's Lucifer Rising, which I had to watch because research for the Extern. That is messed up. It ends with the UFOs coming.
Well,
like,
I mean, and
it's called Lucifer Rising, and it ends with UFOs coming.
Yeah, and again,
Can it be any more clear, people? Why do aliens flee at the name of Jesus? Why do you hear all those stories?
True, but it's a person's faith that ends up driving them away, saying Jesus' name. But yes, you know, it's interesting that the Anunnaki, their pushes in modern times lore that they were studying UFOs and aliens down there in Antarctica, and then you have the Vril mythos. That ties in with Germany and the Nazis and the Anunnaki and not Atlantis. Well, yeah, Antarctica. But yes, I mean the whole.
Danny Title says finders would not. Sorry.
So Dugin didn't start the Leviathan Behemoth comparison, but it's.
No, but he's taking advantage of it to represent.
Of course. Who was the originator of that? Oswald, do you remember? Anybody in the chat remember the originator of Leviathan and Behemoth as far as being kind of like representations of
sea and earth,
like or necessarily of like kingdoms on the earth, if anybody can. But here's another side too as well. Dugin promotes the Anunnaki narrative with the Secrets of the Century series of documentary films hosted by the conservative journalist Yuri Vorbevesky on channels 1 and 4 in 1992. The first episodes were devoted to the mysticism of the Third Reich. Dugin served as a key expert commentator throughout, claiming to have accessed some of the KGB's secret Anunnaki archives in Moscow. This was both Dugin's first television appearance and the first presentation of Anunnaki to the broad Russian public. In the Mysteries of Eurasia and the Hyperborean Theory and the Philosophy of Traditionalism, Dugin resumed his explanation of the Aryan theories of an original Hyperborean civilization. He also interpreted runic writing as a kind of Aryan Grail, written in the universal proto-language supposedly discovered by Worth in 1933 in the Chronicle of Eurolinda. Dugin thus remains faithful to his ideological trajectory and has never renounced his attraction to esoteric Nazism.
Yeah, and so click on the next link I just sent you, because that's exactly where I was taking this.
Oh man,
You'll
sorry.
see.
I didn't mean to cut you out there.
No. It's great. It's great because see, it's all meshing together. It's beautiful. So this is him speaking at one of those GRECE Alain de Benoit groups, and they've got the rune on the front there, right? If you click the back, there's one other photo. I'm not sure if it's. Oh no, yeah. If you click the back arrow to the left of the picture of Dugin, there's another interesting photo of him. It's not important, but it's him standing in front of a tank with an AK.
He's storming the front line.
He's going AK mode. He's going AK mode. Okay. Anyway, so and then I'll bring this up from later. I was going to Dugin's mentioned in the Wikipedia article for Hyperborea. He's got his own section.
Oh Lord.
Got his whole own section there. That's always fun. It's
you make the Theosophists proud.
Hyperborea and radical Russian nationalism and neo-Nazi imagery. It's the big long, the longest title.
Modern interpretations?
No, there it is. Hyperborea and radical Russian.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of Dugin junk. I'm just saying, it's like the influential Russian philosopher, mystic, and radical political theorist Dugin has touted ancient legends about a sunken city of Atlantis and the mythical civilization of Hyperborea in defense of his vision of a Russian empire that spans from Vladivostok to Dublin. At the western edge of Europe. He believes Russia is the modern-day reincarnation of the ancient Hyperboreans who need to stand at odds with the modern-day Atlanteans, the United States. Dugin long demonstrated a belief in Hyperboreans, having published the Hyperborean theory in 1992. In August 2021, a report published by the Institute for Strategic Dialogue highlighted an increased content promoting Hyperborea on TikTok. The report indicates that the Hyperborean imagery and symbolism is increasingly being used as a form of esoteric Nazism by Nazi TikTokers.
Oh Lord!
It was fun times.
Does anybody remember who because William Blake used? I don't think he was the first though, but he talked about Behemoth versus Leviathan. I don't think it was Blake. It was someone else using a modern time to represent politics other than Dugin. So if anybody can, anybody can, let me know about that. It'd be nice if anybody can remember. I got this. Go ahead and continue. Jim Cornette was a wrestling promoter.
Wrestler, yeah.
No, wrestler. Wrestler too. Wrestler and wrestler.
Yeah, I've actually seen this exact same bot before in other channels. It was attacking Cambion at one point.
It's a chaos. Anyway, it's a chaos bot. Go ahead.
It is, yeah, it is. So anyway, moving along, here we go. So I found this is where everything starts to sort of hone in and come together. And sending you an image. It's lagging. I'm sorry. There we go. In 1992, Dugin hosted a program on Russian television titled The Mysteries of the Centuries, in which he talked about the mythical undercurrents of the Nazi regime. In the mid-1990s, he participated, along with Limonov, who we will remember as the founder of the National Bolshevik Party, or NBP. He participated with Limonov in the last performance of Sergei Kuryokin's Pop Mechanica, dedicated to the dedicated to the memory, probably the member, of English occultist Aleister Crowley. Later hosted radio show, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's not important. So it's interesting. So Sergei Kuryokin's, that performance with the spinning people and all that is called Pop Mechanic, or Popular Mechanics, by Sergei Kuryokin.
Okay, so to answer a question earlier, not to cut you off real quick, I just want to get this out. It was Thomas Hobbes who wrote about Behemoth and Leviathan as far as political philosophy. And then later it was, what's Schmidt's? Carl Schmitt, who was a Nazi. He wrote about land and sea. Behemoth exerts itself to rip apart Leviathan with its horns or teeth, while the Leviathan, on the contrary, holds shut the mouth and nose of the land animal with its fins so that it cannot eat or breathe. For Schmidt, this describes a naval blockade and its analogy in its conflicts between England and Russia in the 19th century and England and Germany in the 20th. And then so you also have Aleksandr Dugin bringing it up later. And also, have you ever heard of this guy, S90? Nick Land.
Oh, Nick. Why did that ring a bell?
The Dark Enlightenment dude.
Oh, yeah, the guy Dugin loves.
Ah, yeah.
Like my friend, Nick Land, when he's talking to Luis Razzo.
Ah, so they kind of all feed off of each other, eh?
Yeah. I sent you a picture from, it was like, it's just a circle. This whole thing is just a circle. They even, one of the groups that they're part of is literally called the Uzinski Circle.
And also, didn't Peter Thiel back Nick Land, if I remember correctly?
I think so, yes.
And Curtis Yarvin and Nick Land go together? Okay, never mind. I'm going too much.
This is huge. No, sorry. So this is the main body of the show. And we'll see. I may do a audiobook version of this entire article. This is large. There's not enough time for us to read this all here. This is an article by a female artist called Hannah Lorfobo, hosted on the site of Yevgeny Kozlov, her husband, an artist. I have my own suspicions about them. Their art is strange. And there's a whole section in the top right there just called Eros, which don't click on, obviously. Anyway, and like his stuff is in museums under the curation of one David Crowley, who just looks like anyway, whatever. So anyway, I have my own suspicions about Yevgeny Kozlov and Hannah Lorfobo, who wrote this article, but they do the best description of all of this that I can find. Okay, I've archived all of this because I didn't want this to disappear.
Lauren Southern talked to Dugin. Just thank you, Danny Title.
Yes,
she did. Go ahead.
Yes, she did. So I'm going to read certain chosen sections of this. Like I said, this is massive. I'm just going to read this as best I can and try to get some information out of this. Now, this whole 9-chapter thing is about whatever. Anyway, page 1, introduction. So if you click on introduction there and you scroll down a little bit past the notes on translations and stuff until you see page 1, introduction.
Oswald said that Dugin was relatively late in discovering Nick Land, and while being interested for quite a while, he's ultimately rejected Land since then. Okay, thank you, Oswald.
Okay, that is good. Interesting. All right. So so scroll down more introduction. Okay, so I just want the chat to be up. Sorry, up a bit, and then it'll just say, you'll see up more, and you'll see the word introduction in big bold blue letters. It's just so chat can follow along. I mean,
I'm there.
Anyway. Okay, cool. All right, so just the introduction, so people know what's going on. So Hannah Lorfobo is writing this article about Sergei Kiryokin and Dugin. And it says, the third part of my research dedicated to Sergei Kiryokin and his Pop Mechanica performances from 1984 to 1995, focuses on a single performance that was also to become his last. Pop Mechanica 418, performed in St. Petersburg on the 23rd of September, 1995. Sergei Kiryokin used Pop Mechanica 418 to give his long-term project a political, magical charge, in that it promoted both Aleksandr Dugin's candidature to the Duma and Aleister Crowley's status as a magician. The full title of this performance was Pop Mechanica 418, Kiryokin in support of Dugin in memory of A. Crowley. The concert itself, and in particular the appearance on stage of the two founders of the National Bolshevik Party, Eduard Limonov and Aleksandr Dugin, shocked Kiryokin's friends and divided opinion among his friends and fans and admirers. Fragments of the concert are available on YouTube, and it can be more fully reconstructed with the aid of a separate video that documents a Helsinki performance of this, which took place on the 1st of September and was effectively a rehearsal for the one we saw in St. Petersburg, although it lacked the speech elements from Limonov and Dugin. So it was basically just a warm-up for the music and the dancing in Helsinki. And then when they did the actual one in St. Petersburg, Dugin and Limonov came out and gave their speeches. So it says, on first examination, there does not seem to be any major difference with regard to earlier Pop Mechanica performances, apart from the way they were more grandiose and dramatic than previous shows. This would be insufficient to explain the scandal created by show number 418 in St. Petersburg. After all, the musicians and artists, most of whom were regulars when it came to Pop Mechanica, were playing for a home crowd and expected provocation. However, the provocation in nature was different. Kiryokin was staging his new profession of faith, combining a political message with a number of magical, that is, Crowleyan elements. This distinguished PM 418 from traditional Pop Mechanica performances, carnivalesque shows pinpointed at audiences looking for crazy entertainment. To be precise, The supplemental provocation had begun before, at which Kuryokin promoted Dugin and Limonov along with the National Bolshevik Party, which he regarded as an avant-garde party. And this is what I was talking about. He wanted to be edgy. And after the fall of the Soviet Union, what he was before was no longer edgy. And so he looked at the NBP, National Bolshevik Party of Dugin and Limonov from 1993. That's when they founded that party. And he said, there's my edgy bros, right? There's my cozy TV. I'll get my channel.
Yes.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? It's very, very similar thing. So anyway, it says, in the concluding part of my research, I will try to analyze the main ideas that attracted Kuryokin to the NBP and to Crowley at that moment in his life. The texts read on stage during this performance stand at the forefront of my analysis. They were written by Dugin and Crowley and were presented by Limonov and Dugin, respectively. Their speeches, or at least the greater part thereof, so it seems, form part of the YouTube video, and that's what we saw. So realistically, we didn't miss much. We missed a bunch of dancing and other stupid stuff. And the speeches by Limonov and Dugin are the key. That's what they were reserving for their Russian-only audience, and not the Helsinki audience in Europe. So it says, Hannelore Phobo says, I venture that the performance's visual effects were of greater significance to the public than the speeches. There's a simple reason for this assumption. The audience most certainly didn't understand the fragment read out in French and could hardly have made any sense of the rest. Yet Dugin's and Crowley's text can lead us towards some of the less obvious sources of Kuryokin's ideology, assuming we can consider the National Bolshevik Party program as the more obvious source. While examining these texts, I have tried to relate them to Kuryokin's personal impulses, which I have been able to access via a number of specific books, articles, and interviews. Although I cannot say which of Crowley's texts Kuryokin actually knew, or how much he knew of them through his acquaintance with Dugin, I believe it is possible to state with a certain degree of objectivity 3 points are crucial for Kuryokin's assimilation of Dugin's and Crowley's ideas. 1. The magical paradigm shift, Crowley, and chaos magic presented by Dugin, both of which correspond to Kuryokin's free antithetical or edgy thinking. Excuse me. Dugin's concept of empire, including the National Bolshevik Party's totalitarianism and anti-Americanism, together with Crowley's hierarchical system. There's a master and the slave, both of which correspond to Kuryokin's elitist thinking. And the coming of the new aeon, empowering human beings to carry out their own true will, which additionally influenced the National Bolshevik Party program. Want to comment on any of that?
No. It's Gnostic.
I'll keep going then.
It's Gnostic mysticism. I mean, what?
Oh, yeah, basically.
You can keep going.
It gets worse. Let's see here. What do we got? I'll just keep reading. Forget it. Whatever. We'll just keep going here. So it says the first point can be summarized as magical thinking. Magical thinking, as defined by the Oxford Dictionary of Psychology, equals thinking that one's thoughts on their own can bring about effects in the world, or that thinking something amounts to doing it. But this definition would apply to a prayer as well. The magicality of the word via a prayer would actually be discussed later in this person's book. Anyway, it says, the article in Encyclopedia Britannica is more elaborate. Magical thinking, the beliefs that one's ideas, thoughts, actions, or words, or use of symbols can influence the course of events in the material world. Examples include beliefs that the movement of the sun, moon, wind, the occurrence of rain can be influenced by one's thoughts or the manipulation of some type of symbolic representation of these physical phenomena. End quote. So the author continues on and says, though these examples provided seem to have been deliberately chosen so as to exaggerate the scale of the effect, so good on the author for calling that out, in order to make magical thinking appear fanciful, they nonetheless befit Crowley's definition of magic, the control of new worlds on new planes. Together, the magical paradigm shift and chaos magic constitute a category of magical thinking requiring complete freedom in terms of an individual's ability to change their mindset. They thus correspond to Kuryokin's antithetical thinking or edginess, while also adding a component of power. The second point in the aforementioned list can then be categorized as imperial thinking, something which also encapsulates the concept of power, while the third offers a prospect for the future and may be understood as the path to individual freedom. Representing power as well as individual freedom, these 3 points contradict and support each other at the same time, as expressed in Crowley's statement, quote, "The absolute rule of the state shall be a function of the absolute liberty of each individual will," end quote. These inherent contradictions, also reflected in the National Bolshevik Party's program, did not allow for the construction of a consistent worldview. However, Kryokin did not mind this apparent inconsistency. Quite the contrary, it gave him room to maneuver, offering him countless possibilities in terms of making provocative statements. It was the free speech that let him be edgy. Provocation came as second nature to Kryokin. He was a troll. For Kryokin and Dugin, the absolute liberty of the individual and the absolute rule of the state somehow went together. Yet this somehow poses a problem only if we attempt to judge these ideas using logic. This becomes particularly evident with Dugin's hedgehog model of empire, internal freedom with external empire defended by missiles. Furthermore, Dugin attempts to undergird his imperial concept of Russia by applying his interpretation of Christian orthodoxy, whereby he claims to possess an understanding of a kind with which the most sophisticated and profound Western philosophies pale in comparison. The subtleties of the arguments are later examined in this book. The third point, the coming of the new aeon, was the precondition for the development of a new concept of an ideal society. According to Crowley, the Aeon of Osiris ended in 1904, and this was communicated to him by an angel to give way to the new Aeon of Horus, supposedly a period in which people could manifest their true will, magical thinking. The date corresponds to the Russian Revolution of 1905, considered to be the forerunner of the October Revolution in 1917. Kryokin came across Crowley's religion after the end of the Soviet Union, which had once promised that the Great October Socialist Revolution ushered in a new era in the history of mankind. In this way, Crowley helped explain why, in Kryokin's words, quote, "We have come to a moment in which the crisis of art is so evident, indeed a crisis not only of art, but of religion, ethics, and morality, because," as he continues, quote, "it marks the end of a long epoch in people's lives," end quote. It appears that it was only at the end of the 20th century that the old aeon was left behind and that the new was poised to emerge via yet another revolution. It was the National Bolshevik Party which promised the next revolution, the real revolution. The first point in the 1994 party program states, and this is where it's going to get out of hand, people. A traditionalist hierarchical society will be built on the basis of the ideas of spiritual masculinity and social and national justice. Social justice in the 1994 party program of the National Bolshevik Party.
Dugin? So we have Dugin.
I don't expect any I don't expect any social justice leftists are in our chat. But if they were, well, it probably wouldn't change their mind anyway. But hey, whatever. No, I think we got someone accidentally got blocked.
No, Bibby didn't get blocked. He or she deleted their wrong comment. So that means that we have Gnosticism, Aeons, social justice, Crowleyism, Satanism, Gnosticism. Do I need to go on?
Seaver, Nazis, paganism, runes, the French. So
Dugin was one of the first modern social justice warriors, right?
So I just want that to settle.
I want to make
sure.
Bolshevik, chaos magician. He really cares about traditionalism, right? Right? He's one of those old ones, right?
He's our traditional Orthodox Christian guy. He donate and buy his books, everybody. Yikes. Anyway, let's keep going with the National Bolshevik Party program. Ay, caramba. Okay, I'll scroll down a bit. Oh, okay. I think now the last sentence, and it is if I had to say which of these two was more important to Kuryokin, empire or magic, I would plump for Crowley's magic. I have come to the conclusion that Kuryokin regarded politics as a branch of magic and magic as a branch of art. And so that's the end of the first chapter. The second chapter, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see a link to go to chapter 2 called A National Bolshevik Party Band.
Okay, so chapter 2.
And I will keep reading. And again, I'm not going to read all this. This is honestly fascinating. This is probably the best article on Dugin I've ever read. And it's the most limited, quite frankly, because it focuses on one single little thing here. So, the year 1995 saw a significant change for Sergei Kuryokin's activities. Having met Edward Limonov and Aleksandr Dugin, the founders of the National Bolshevik Party from 1993, he turned to politics and adopted a totalitarian, anti-Western position. Okay, great. We all know this. So let me go down here. Here we go. The NBP started as a sort of eclectic totalitarian movement, adhering to the ideas of Italian fascism while also absorbing Crowleyan positions and assembling both ultra-right and ultra-left ideologies. Since the movement had not been granted the status of party, Dugin participated in the Duma elections of 17 December 1995 as an independent candidate. He ran as a candidate for St. Petersburg constituency number 210 under the slogan, "The secret will be revealed." Could you imagine if it had been Trust the Plan?
Seems about right. The plan, trust the plan. Okay, go on.
The secret will be revealed. In the first of its 26 points, the party program from 1994 stipulated that, quote, "The essence of National Bolshevism is ravaging hatred toward the anti-human Trinitarian system of liberalism, democracy, and capitalism. The National Bolshevik is an insurgent with a mission to raze the systems to the ground. A traditionalist, hierarchical society will be built on the basis of the ideals of spiritual masculinity and social and national justice." Okay. Point 3, which Dugin later uses as the basis of his Eurasian movement in 1998, states, "The global goal of National Bolshevism is the creation of an empire stretching from Vladivostok to Gibraltar, based on Russian civilization. This goal will be achieved in 4 stages. A,
The transformation of the Russian Federation into a national state of Russia by means of a Russian Revolution. B, the ascent.
Any of those ringing a bell?
Okay, you're on
C,
B.
the Eurasian
go back.
peoples
Go.
of the former
We lo-
USSRs
Hey, can you hear
surrounding,
me?
uniting
S90.
around the
S90.
Russians.
S90. Can you hear me?
Mm.
You cut out
Yeah.
there. You cut out at A.
Oh,
I started
sorry.
reading it, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, A, the transformation of the Russian Federation into a national state of Russia by the means of a Russian revolution. So they're calling for a Bolshevik revolution in Russia. Point 2, or B, the accession of territories of the former Soviet republics that are inhabited by Russians. So Ukraine, Georgia, any of those ringing a bell, right? They'll take them back. That's what they're saying. C, the Eurasian peoples of the former USSR uniting around the Russians. So basically, if we previously owned your country, you will now form up around us again. And D, the creation of a gigantic continental empire. Great. Okay. Point 7 is more specific about this goal and how it is to be achieved. We denounce the Belavisa Accords and its consequences within a single state. Wherever Russians exceed 50% of the population in territories of cessationist republics, these territories will be united with Russia via local referenda supported by Russia. Crimea, Caucasus, Novorossiysk. Separatism of national minorities will be suppressed relentlessly. Separatism of national minorities will be suppressed relentlessly. Oh, I'm sorry that we own Romania now and that you're Romanian, but there are Russians living in Romania, so Romania is ours now, and any separatism from you won't be tolerated. Understood? That's what that means, right? The party program committed itself to reconquering Russia, stating Russia will belong to us. And I want to note here that a later party, after Dugin and Limonov split up, Limonov continued with the National Bolshevik Party, and one of the mottos they use is yes, comma, death. Nice people. Anyway, point 15, and this is key. I think this will be the nail in the coffin, and I may just stop reading it here. Because the rest of it is this. Point 15, pertaining to culture of the National Bolshevik Party program of 1994. The NBP is strongly convinced that culture should grow like a wild tree. We are not planning to cut it back. There should be complete freedom. Do what you want will be the only law you have. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Do what thou wilt.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this article goes on. They've translated all the speeches, pinpointed all the quotes. It's like I said, I may just read this all in audiobook format. It is an amazing article. I cannot recommend this article enough. This is so great. Let me see if I can find, maybe there is a couple decent pieces that I can just get here. Here it is, chapter 5, A New Spark for the Life of Pop Mechanic, Aleister Crowley. In the first half of the 1990s, Sergei Kuryokin, having become disillusioned with the impact of his music on society, set his ambition on politics. His eccentric yet highly entertaining popular mechanic performances were a remarkable example of Soviet-era alternative pop culture, if such a paradox ever actually existed at all. Although this had reached at a conceptual dead end, the chaotic and funny way in which he juxtaposed jazz, rock, and folk music with animals and dancers was exciting only as long as it mocked the official culture. Once it gained recognition and fame, he became tired, and it became somewhat mechanical. Okay, whatever, anyway, blah, blah, blah. Whiny artist. Moving on. Crowley's texts. Yeah, Crowley's texts have been quite influential in New Age movements in the second half of the 20th century, but they were little known in Russia until much later. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Misselberger calls Crowley one of the three chief enfants terribles of the 20th century spirituality, the others being Osho and Gurdjieff. That's fun. Magic and Yoga from Crowley. That's later. It's such a big article. I'm sorry. Here. This is great. Okay. So Pop Mechanique, show number 418. Why did he name it number 418? 418, the number Kuryokin chose for his concert, was of great importance in Crowley's numerology. It signified, among other things, abrahadabra. Crowley replaced the C in abracadabra with an H, explaining that abrahadabra is the key of the rituals because it expresses the magical formulae of uniting various complementary ideas, especially the 5 of the microcosm with the 6 of the macrocosm. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, let's see here. Sorry, that fit into something I'd read later. Someone described Kuryokin's art as abracadabra to Crowley's abrahadabra, right? Like the guy didn't know what he was doing and he was playing with magical forces that he didn't understand. That's what the author's ultimate takeaway on all of this was that this guy was in over his head and was involved with real Satanists and he had no idea what he was doing. So I thought that was interesting. And it was interesting that he died of a rare heart disease right after this, like right after Dugin and Limonov were able to use him for fame and promotion, he suddenly died. So we'll never know whether he was going to continue this Satanist streak or if it was just a one-off, or maybe the idea for it was Dugin's and Limonov's and he was just kind of going along with it, right? Ooh, here we go. This is great. The elements of the performance that can be considered, so the video we watched for the spinning crosses and all that stuff, it says the elements of the performance that can be considered specifically Crowleyan are, it can be contended that they are related to Crowley's writings or a symbol of the major arcana from the tarot deck that Aleister Crowley conceived of, painted by Frida Harris in 1942. The possible list in the Dugin video are masks portraying Egyptian deities such as Horus, Anubis, and the funerary mask of Tutankhamun, a large wheel operated like a treadmill with one of the performers walking inside of it, i.e. the Wheel of Fortune or the Wheel of Life, a young woman dancing provocatively, thus Babylon, the goddess of pleasure, in various scenes and throughout, two virtually naked men, each strapped to a cross crucified that revolves vertically around its axis, which represents the end of Christianity. So that's great. So it says, however, someone not familiar with Crowley's writings or his influence on Karaoke would hardly have been able to distinguish between these features from any of the others. And it says it would be fair to assume that this is a large majority of both the Finnish and the St. Petersburg audiences. They had no idea what they were watching, right? They were just like, weird, you know. What else have we got? All of the shows were exactly the same except for Limonov and Dugin's speeches. Trying to get to the part where they talk about the speeches. I'm sorry, it's a very long article. I had originally just intended to read it all. And it was very fascinating. This was the most fascinating part when I get to it all. Please load. Oh, for good Lord's sake.
This is very interesting. It's S90. It's fine.
So I'm sorry. It's lagging. Give me a sec.
It's okay. We're learning so much about Dugin and what all this really, truly means, which is satanic and evil and horrible. Dugin is not an Orthodox Christian. Please pray for him.
No, he is not any form of Christian. Let me see if I can get to chapter 8 this way. Good grief. Yes, this is where it gets really curious to me. It says, no less puzzling is Dugin reading out the first two chapters of Crowley's Aratia, dating to 1907 and 1908, including the introduction related to chaos magic. According to the OTO USA, Aratia is one of Crowley's books belonging to Class A, thus representing the utterance of an adept entirely beyond the criticism of even the visible head of the organization. To Crowley's followers, this is a holy book. Okay. The fact that Dugin first provides an introduction in French to a Russian audience is even stranger. Did he want to impress the audience with his knowledge of language and philosophy? His French is rather good, although the construction of the sentences sounds somewhat unusual to a French speaker. Unfortunately, the video does not contain the beginning of Dugin's speech, in which he may have explained in Russian why he would be speaking French to the audience. Perhaps Dugin had prepared this speech for use at an event in France. Dugin is a close acquaintance of Christian Boucher, a French writer and far-right politician who has several books written on Crowley, I apologize. It may have been Boucher who introduced Dugin to Crowley's writings, or, Alain de Benoit, who knows at this point. In 1993, they both met on the occasion of Boucher's visit to Moscow, and presumably it was at that time that Dugin conducted his interview with Boucher, which he then published in his journal, The Kind Angel, under the title, At the Threshold of Masonic Workshops. In the interview, Dugin asks Boucher about occult societies in general and about Crowley in particular. One of the main subjects of that interview is the implicit influence of esoteric thought among Nazi leaders and Crowley's supposed influence. So there's the Nazis again. Yikes. The following is a translation of the speech Dugin gave on stage in French, which formed his chaos magic-based introduction to Crowley's work for the purposes of the show. A transcript of French is given in the footnote, yada, 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 yada. This is Dugin speaking in French before reading Crowley in Russian. Chaos magic is an exercise in chaos aimed at experiencing situations that result from the practice of chaos and or from entropy in order to turn these into personal magic-based activity. Moreover, One can employ chaos magic in its inverse form in place of black games. One should one wish to carry out such an operation. As with any such pact, this practice is equally available to magicians who are male and female, but to make the text more readable, we have used the masculine gender throughout the text. Okay. Well, anyway. Says the term chaos magic is not directly linked to Crowley's writings, though his writings did, to a degree, influence chaos magic, as described in Watkins' Dictionary of Magic. Anyway, skipping along. He wrote a book in 1997 called The Templars of the Proletariat. I'd be very interested in finding that in English if anyone can help me. 8-pointed star, 8-pointed compass, very similar to the NATO emblem. Good point on the author here, points that out. In his book, Liber Null and the Psychonaut, blah, blah, blah. I apologize, folks. We're doing it live. Doing it live. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, he talks about Kabbalah, Hegel, more about Crowley. Anyway, I'm going to do a reading of this, I think. I'll do this in audiobook format. The author compares Dugin's speech to Crowley's writings, and Dugin has changed some keywords here and there that change sort of the meaning of some of it, which is interesting because it's sort of like how he repurposed Wolfram Siever into his personality, right? Wolfram Siever was a Nazi, and they wanted to define all Europeans, including Russians, as a subset of Germans, right? Germans were the main race and everyone else was an offshoot from them. And Dugin is doing the same thing, but everyone is an offshoot of Russians, right? So it's sort of like he takes older work done by people like the work of Wolfram Siever or Crowley and then repurposes it to fit his Russia-centric viewpoint, right? I don't know. It just feels like there's a lot of intellectual plagiarism, maybe, maybe not plagiarism, something lighter than that, but, like some copying kind of going on here. Not very original on his part. But so I'm going to end the reading of that article there. I apologize to anyone if wanted to see some more. We'll continue on. There's a lot more to look at. So this was sent to me by someone else, another amazing researcher who is helping us out here. This is an IMDb title. And you can just bring that up for just 1 second, and then we will bring up the summary here. So you've got interesting show, Diva Kapitana 2, directed by Sergei Debshev, whatever, with Boris Gribashenko and Sergei Karyokin. Oh, okay. Interesting. So here's an overview that was sent to me by the same amazing researcher. Thank you. You know who you are. So you just pull up that picture, and that's funny. So it says here, overview of this show with Sergei Karyokin, the guy we were just talking about. The beginning of the 20th century, the recklessness of fanatics is pushing humanity towards the abyss. Remember, they said they create the abyss. Anyway, the National Bolshevik. Anyway, pushing humanity towards the abyss. The revolution begins in Russia. Crazy Dr. Farkas induces something of inanimate matter, a climax of inanimate matter. White Moroccan dwarves are becoming active. A second sun appears in the sky. In this difficult environment, captains selfishly confront the forces of chaos, maintaining the cosmic balance of history. So basically, Russia's going to fight the forces of chaos and save the world. Okay. Sound familiar to you, John?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. You know, there's a YouTube clip. Let's watch a clip. We haven't watched many clips.
I like clips.
I'm going to shut up. Let's watch this clip. It's not long. And I think after we play this clip, people are going to be like, please, no more clip. Oh, did it not work?
Interesting. It brought me to the channel directly.
You clicked on the channel name instead of the title of the
bad.
video. Yeah. Stupid Discord. Chaos magicians.
All right.
لا نفكر في احتمالية الهزيمة لأن هذا لا يمكن أن يحصل
I
وإذا
think you
ما
should
حصل
read
فلن
the.
يكون
Hey, yeah, I
هناك
gotta,
بوتين.
I gotta start it
You'll
over.
be
لا
outraged.
نفكر في
We do not even consider the
احتمالية
possibility of
الهزيمة
defeat,
لأن هذا
because that
لا
cannot
يمكن أن
happen.
يحصل.
Otherwise, there will be no Putin, no Russia, and no world as far as I know.
عالم بحسب
Because we have put
معرفتنا
everything on the line.
خاطرنا بكل شيء. لذلك
Therefore, it's important to listen to what Mr. Putin is saying
السيد بوتين بشأن
about a possible nuclear attack in case we face a nuclear attack by NATO.
Uh-oh.
نووي إذا ما هوجمنا من قبل سلاح نووي من قبل الناتو أو إذا ما تدخل
If NATO intervenes, retaliation will be in kind.
يكون بالمثل وبالتالي هذه القرارات أو هذا القرار الذي
Therefore, the decision to continue with operations to our last breath has been taken,
حتى الربق الأخير اتخذ بالفعل
and we have no choice but to win.
آخر إلا الانتصار.
The way I understand it, you were saying, either we win or we use nuclear weapons and it will be the end of the world. Did I understand you correctly?
Even the host is like, what? Please no.
Yes, exactly. These are the words of our president.
نعم 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 بالضبط.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. These are the words of our president, Vladimir Putin. Without Russia, there's no humanity.
No, the humanity.
If you want to live on this earth, you should accept Russia as an independent, sovereign superpower. The Belt and Road Initiative, Clover Relief.
Oh. What you think of
Hey,
that?
Mark. Mutual assured destruction. Now, I'm well aware that that's quote unquote supposedly America's plan, but the sword of Damocles, the nukes. Oh boy. So, yeah.
Big words.
If Dugin truly was a Christian, I don't think he would be afraid of nuclear holocaust, because I don't remember reading that in the Bible. But whatever. Okay, so just an aside there.
So, if that clip wasn't enough, I have another clip. We're not going to watch this. We're merely going to look at the title. You can skim through it and look at the subtitles in wherever you want in this video. We're going to focus on the title and the person. So after all of this, I'll admit, material on Dugin's getting a little thin out here.
And that was on Al Jazeera, by the way. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, so material on Dugin is getting thinner and thinner as we comb through it all. I'm sure there's still more out there. We're going to get more. Like, we didn't know about Hans Siever till recently. I don't know how we missed that. Anyway, so I wanted to look at some of the other people that are of interest to him, that are his friends or his students or his teachers. And because this all began because you said, go look up Lucius Trust, the plan.
Yes.
And this is who it led me to. So this isn't even me wanting to talk about Dugin per se, as much as this kind of just all came together like, oh, what a coincidence. So here's a clip for you to look at. It's 48 minutes. Obviously, we're not going to watch it. I will tell you what that says. The title of the video is Lecture by Evgeny Golovin on Lilith, with presentation by Aleksandr Dugin.
Oh, for the love of God.
Yeah. Please do. Everyone pray, because this is getting ridiculous.
So you're telling me you're telling me God bless you, Johann Wolf. I hope you really do come out of Gnosticism, brother. Jesus is the only the way, the truth, and the life, and Steiner was very wrong. So you're always welcome back. The truth is here if you want it. Go crack up in your Bible. You claim it's Sunday school. It's not good enough for you, bud. It used to not be good enough for me either. The Bible wasn't good enough. Just wasn't good enough. It was just Sunday school. I needed the works
I know
of
it's not as
Rudolf
exciting
Steiner
as
and the
mysteries.
Gnostic Gospels. It'll send you straight to hell. All right, so
Shouting at Clouds just said it looks like a homeless shelter with microphones.
that's true. Yes. So I've got to get
When
up
I was
here.
looking at pictures,
I've got to get up here and read a
looking at
poem
pictures
about
of
Lilith.
Sergei. Yeah, and I was looking at pictures of Sergei Karyokin, some of his art shows from before the Satanist Dugin one, and they were in like a ruined underground building that was falling apart with literally garbage bags on their heads and glow sticks. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is only shelter. Anyway, so yeah, so yay Lilith, yay Dugin, yay. Yay. It couldn't get any worse, could it?
So now we have, the Lilith old Jewish folk tales, the divine feminine, the spirit of Jezebel again. So we got
Right at Kings.
Alexander Dugin giving his I would assume poem of love to Lilith. And
Atlantis and Hyperborea.
And one thing I do want to say, though, I do talk about the spirit of Jezebel or the quote divine feminine. Jehu was not a man of God. Okay, so there's no be like Jehu. No, there ain't none of that. All right. So if don't be like, they're trying to push that right now. They talk about the spirit of Jezebel. Be like Jehu. Yeah, Jehu may have, contributed to throwing down Jezebel. It's truly God who did it through him. But he was not a godly man and stumbled afterwards in his own arrogancy and hubris. He was quite sinful and quite prideful. So I just want to make that known. All right, go ahead. S90.
No, Nori's just looking at the chat. Bot. That's so amazing. Okay.
He needs to go away.
So okay. So
Jehu
I
was
was looking
Jehu
at
was just
pictures.
Jehu
So I was
was
looking
just-
at people around Dugin.
I was gonna say Jehu was just another king of Israel, another fallen king of Israel that he thought he knew better, and he let his arrogancy and his pride get to him. Okay, so go ahead. Sorry, just go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's why people come here, for your commentary on God and the Bible, because you have spent a lot of time reflecting on it and come to a reasonable conclusion about
It's still gonna
things.
take a lifetime, But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it does. Yeah, exactly. It's a never-ending work. Just like looking into Dugin. So I was looking into just a couple people around him, and then of course he's part of this thing called the Ujinsky Circle. So let me just find where my stuff is for all that here. Oh, I thought this was interesting. Yes, this was very interesting. Okay, so this is from the book. This book is called The Ujinsky Circle. Vladimir Stepanov, for instance, wrote to several Western publishers to ask for works unavailable in the Soviet Union. He was in contact with the Gurdjieffians abroad, such as John Bennett, British scholar diplomat and likely member of MI6, and Idris Shah, an Afghan born in India and teacher of the Sufi religion. So there's the Sufism again, and that will come up again and again and again with the Ujinsky Circle, which is interesting because Sufism is what the Mason host and Wahid Asal practice, but then they talk about Earth Mother Goddess Ahura Mazda, so maybe that's what Sufism really is, and then the outward appearance is that it's just a branch of Islam, right? Anyway, moving on. Just curious little details. So Golovin, so that's the guy on screen right now, Yevgeny Golovin. In 1968, Golovin had only owned one of René Guinon's books. Now, René Guinon, shout out to Guevara, I wouldn't have known who René Guinon was without Sway. He's the father of synarchism, right?
I read all magazines.
Sort of Hegelian. Yeah, Iram, yes. Yeah. I miss Iram, man. I haven't seen him.
He's on Twitter. Shout out to Iram.
So all the greats have left YouTube and are on Twitter. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it is. But yeah, I mean, I guess to follow out. Guess one last thing.
I'm just trying to find this.
One last thing too about Jehu is, again, he led he led the Hebrew people into idolatry. So he was the king of North Israel. So I mean, again, his arrogance, his hubris, he led him back into idolatry. So I mean, he was So don't be Jehu. Don't be Jehu. Okay, there. Go ahead. I just wanted to say that. Finish that.
Here's another important name that I found out while looking
I
here.
can't do subscribers mode because I don't have monetization. So it's not. I can't do that. So sorry about that.
Then no one else would be able to chat either.
Yeah, I mean, I would do that maybe to stop the bots, but I can't. That I can see. I tried. So all right, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Okay, sorry. So another name that I came across in all of this was a disciple of Gurdjieff called Arkady Rovner, Rovner. He will come up in a little bit here, so I just wanted to point out that his name is appearing in Uzinski Circle alongside Golovin as well here. There was a quote in this book, and I lost it now. Like when I refreshed my page, the PDF went to the top, and I lost the page I was on. That sucks. Darn it. Maybe if I just type in Satanism? How lovely is this? Yes. Dugin joined Vasilyev's faction and had a seat on the Central Council for 7 months. Nonetheless, he was quickly expelled along with the Jamal for... I didn't read this part of the book. Dugin joined Vasilyev's faction in 1987 and even had a seat on the Central Council for several months. Nonetheless, he was quickly expelled from Pamyat along with the Jamel for Satanism and anti-Soviet intentions at a time when the association was largely reconciled. Blah, blah, blah. The accusation of Satanism probably refers to Dugin's Nazi symbolism and the Black Order rituals of the Uzinski Circle. So yeah, they were performing a ritual SS black magic in this Uzinski Circle. That was their little secret club, and it's called Uzinski Circle because they met in the barracks at Uzinski Circle Road in Russia until they were demolished. There was a story about its founding that I wanted to read, and now I can't find it. It basically accused them of basically just being a bunch of drunks. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so Mamleev is another one of these names, Mamleev. I think it's Yuri Mamleev. Yeah, Yuri Mamleev is one of the leading lights of the 1960s generation of achieving a cult following in Russia. He joined, let me see here, he's, there's Arkady Rovner. Uzinski Circle gained a reputation for Satanism, seances, a devotion to all things esoteric, mysticism, hypnosis, Ouija boards, Sufism, trances, pentagrams, and so forth, united by the heavy use of alcohol, because Russia, in order to achieve enlightenment, among other things. As a side note, I want to point out that there is this strange cultural phenomenon in Russia where they believe that vodka cures radiation poisoning. So for them to say that, vodka increases the mystical experience is a cultural thing. Spirits. Yeah, spirits. There's a reason they call them spirits. I can personally attest to that as that's some. I would just avoid it entirely. Anyway, the rules of the circle were thus: first, there was heavy drinking, followed by conversation, recalled Rovner. There's that guy again, Rovner, who described this desired state of mind as marazm or dementia, which was a kind of unique ski jump without which the exit to a higher state and spheres was impossible. So you basically had to get drunk off your feet so that you could fly so high you could get to the other realms. Okay. Mamleev's circle was disparaged on all sides. Official culture tried to pretend that it did not exist. Even the liberal westernized nomenclatura looked askance at the group's fascination with the occult, fascism, and mysticism, while nationalists and religious believers considered Mamleev's group to be Satanists. The Uzinski brand of unofficial culture was referred to as schizoid by both its purveyors and its detractors. The schizoids, so this was a term they adopted, the schizoids, quote unquote, adopted the pejorative term as their own, finding madness a form of gnosis, a saner alternative to reality that was utterly hostile to them. The creators of the underground culture reveled in the unshakable sense of self-chosenness and self-apostasy, according to Natalia Tamruchin, I don't know, someone, a historian. Anyway, they despised property, money, status, and focused on the one area which was out of the reach of the eye of the state censors, the eye of the mental experience. By 1980, the group had gone through many changes. The core remained, while Mamlev had departed for the United States, where he taught at Cornell University. Those are the kind of teachers those high-end schools get. Anyway, he moved to the United States, taught at Cornell University before he moved to Paris, where he was finally published because publishers in the United States and USSR rejected his books. Good for them. The circle no longer met in Uzinski Perilok barracks, whatever, which had been demolished, but rather in the flats and dakas of its members. They camped out on each other's sofas, slept on floors, performed bizarre initiation rituals, engaged in alchemy and the transmutation of metals, pored over magic text, created secret numerological codes, wrote in streams of consciousness, drank heavily, and experimented with sex and drugs. So, yeah. So that's basically Uzinski group. That guy on the screen's part of them. Dugin's part of them. Mamlev, who became a professor at Cornell, is part of them. We've got other associates here. Valentin Pavlovich Provotorov. I don't know. Got another, he's another mystic, friend of Yuri Mamlev. Let me see here. Another member. He mentions Lilith in his poems called The Verses from the Mandarin Hours. I'm not going to read them because I'm pretty sure they're an invocation. And Yuri Mamlev, the metaphysician of Moscow. Got so much stuff open. Okay, here's one for you.
No, Oswald, we did not. I had no idea it was Friday the 13th until literally you just said it.
I did when I drove out this morning. I was like, oh God, I don't want to go driving.
I mean, you know what? I don't believe in superstitions.
Yeah,
so.
no, if you, it's all dependent on what you expect. Like, anyway, it doesn't matter. Here we go. So I found this document. People will say like, oh, well, what if Dugin isn't friends with this Evgeny Golovin guy anymore? What if he doesn't follow Lilith? And blah, blah, blah. So this magazine called Revista Antisteria, whatever. It's a history magazine. And if you just press the...
whoa. Is that, Thlemite symbol in the Masonic compass down? What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's got an article on there by Varg.
Of course it does.
And if you scroll back up to the top really quickly, yeah, it's a really lovely magazine. On the
Varg
cover
is a
page,
neo-pagan.
Brujas y Plantas by Evgeny Golovin. Press the magnifying glass on the top left there. Dugin. Enter.
Yeah, okay.
And then keep hitting the arrow. Yeah, he a bit more. Well, okay, that's nice. I didn't see that part.
Well, that was
maybe not on the stream. Yeah, I've tried to omit most of the disgusting garbage. Yeah, he wrote an article in this about, and it's got about ayahuasca. He wrote articles about ancient archaeology for this guy back in like 2017, 18. So,
So Varg, Dugin.
They're still good.
Varg, Dugin. Like,
Golovin, yeah. Mysticism, tarot, alchemy. So yeah, it's not like these people don't still hang out and don't still like each other. We've got another publication here. Got another publication here that was sent to me by someone. One of their positive reviews is from Dugin, and they speak very positively of him as well.
What is the new dawn?
Look at their logo at the top. It's literally got the
Yeah.
chaos logo
Yeah.
coming out the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yay.
#1 magazine for people who think for themselves.
And then further down, we've got a review.
Revelations Beyond the Da Vinci Code. New Dawn Special Issue 2.
Literally the last review. Right, scroll right to the bottom. The last review.
Aleksandr Dugin. New Dawn magazine is one of the best sources of realistic information on the state of things in our world as it nears its inevitable and predicted end. For some people, it could seem a little bit strange and weird, phantasmagoric. But the reality in which we live is itself something strange and weird. New Dawn magazine helps us to persist and gives us hope for the better world that is coming. Yeah, that's exactly what a Christian would say. You could have replaced Aleksandr Dugin's name with John Brisson's name right there. And I'm being facetious. This man's a Christian. Yeah.
Got I think did I double post that? No, that's a single. Sorry, I keep accidentally double posting links saying my keyboard's broken. This is art.
Look at this.
Yeah, you covered that for a minute.
Come on. Silent weapons for the secret war on you. Aliens are us from the future. Who are you, Mr. Putin? Seth speaks. The medium was the message. Spirit marriages. Relationships between humans and other worldly beings. This is like literally...
Copulate with the succubus and the incubus.
This is literally Weekly World News, except Weekly World News was funny, and this is people trying to be serious and try hard when they're horrible at it. Right here. From the New Dawn Special Issue Volume 12, Aleksandr Dugin, International Man of Mystery.
No. Yeah, I got that one. If you actually hit back, there was a cover of one of them on their About Us page as well. That's talking about the Da Vinci Code. Yay.
Oswald mentions there's a Kiwi fascist a man named Kerry Bolton, or a woman or man, who regularly writes for the New Dawn. Any idea if Brendan O'Connell knows him? I don't know. I don't know if Brendan O'Connell knows every Kiwi. I'm not so sure about that. The end of the Kali Yuga in 2025 in unraveling the mysteries.
Like when you're on this magazine, it looks like you're on
the timeless mystery of Count Saint Germain. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, I am. Alice A. Bailey, Mother of the New Age or the New World Order. Wow, that's a title that I would give something. Okay, hold on a minute. Wait. Hold on.
Are you having fun, John?
They try to say that she was a Christian for decades of her life. Like,
it's so painful. It's just so painful.
Whoa, Alice Bailey in the United Nations?
It gets worse, man. It gets worse.
Whoa. So this person's trying to say that's it is a bad thing, but wow. Well, okay. I don't know. Okay. All right. Sure, whatever. Sorry about that.
Man. Go back. If you go back to the About Us page that we were on first with Dugin's review of the magazine, just really quickly, they had one of their covers was talking about the Da Vinci Code and stuff, and it's just like it's all that kind of stuff. It's all that kind of stuff.
Mary Magdalene, apostle of the apostles.
Yeah.
What's next from
Apostle
Dan
of
Brown?
Apostles.
Cracking the symbol code, the illusion of control, the priory of Zion, and the Illuminati.
Yay. Okay, so
Sufi mysticism, the scenes. So, what
did I do here? Oh yeah. So the next thing I put in here, it's all in Russian. We don't have to read it. It's just some artwork from Uzinsky Lane. It's called Number 26, Uzinsky Lane's Sexual Mystics. I will pre-check this. I don't believe there's anything. There's no. Yeah, it's clear. You can open it. There's literally just one painting anyway, and then it's just an article about paintings. But it's just that one. Like, look at this one painting up, man.
Yeah,
like,
I'm looking at it.
Could go like there's the Leviathan staring at the man on the land or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's what. I'm not an art critic or a scholar, but come on, right? there's dinosaurs flying around. This is the kind of stuff, you know. And I mean, it's got a long, crooked nose and big eyebrows and kind of goblin-y looking ears. I'm pretty sure I could tell you what the archetype is supposed to represent, but anyway, I thought that was wow, that was pretty dumb stuff. Let me see here. I had some other stuff here. Okay. This is where I need to pull up my second pile of notes now. I found a website called Tibetan Buddhist Encyclopedia.com. It's literally the worst formatted website I've ever seen in my life. Oh boy. You remember when we discussed you remember when I was talking to you about smoke monsters and like smoke possession and stuff?
Yes.
The first line on the page for Agartha is referencing the smoky god. And I just, as that wasn't part of the show, I just realized that. I was like, is that what that I'll tell the audience. In looking for this article on Agartha and stuff, I came across a Russian version of Atlantis or Agartha or Shambhala or whatever you want to call it, called Oponskaya Kingdom. I don't have it pulled up. Let me pull it up. Oponskaya Kingdom. Here we go. So it's basically, this is the Russian Old Believers. Now that's what Aleksandr Dugin is. He is what's called an Old Believer.
That's what he claims. That's what he claims.
He says he's a Russian Old Believer. And the Old Believers have this thing called the Oponskaya Kingdom, and it's interesting because I think pretty sure they're describing Japan. Just being honest. Anyway, it says king. So it's Oponskaya Kingdom, supposed to mean Yapon, right? Like Japan, Yapon, Saratovo, or the Kingdom of Japan, as it's saying here, as some sources erroneously put it. The Kingdom of Hapona is a mythical kingdom in Russian folklore, envisioned by Russian peasants lying at the edge of a flat earth. Here, it was believed that the peasants lived happy lives undisturbed by the state or the gentry. Very key usage of that word. Anyway, under a white Tsar who ruled truly and justly. Such paradise places were known under other names such as the Golden Land, the Land of Chud, and
the Land of Chud.
Land of Chud, and Belovedai. Now, I bring this up. Oh, I'll say this here. Groups of peasants from various regions of Russia were known to go on expeditions to the far north and east of Russia to find the mythical utopia. There was a strain of old believers called the Wanderers that spent their entire lives wandering, and some researchers asserted that they were instrumental in the propagation of this legend. That's interesting. Anyway, so it's like Shambhala, El Dorado, but it's the Russian version. It's the Russian Old Believers version of this. There's a Russian show that you can find on YouTube. I watched this show. This is a terrible show. Okay, about a magic star child who gets the power of the amulet or whatever and has to stop evil. Over Oponskaya Kingdom, and the evil in it is literally like a smoke monster from Lost, you know, or like the demons that come out of people in this show Supernatural. This like black, it's almost like the black goo, but it's like a smoke instead. And then they're talking about the smoky god. I'm finding things as I'm going through my notes. So frustrating. I'm sorry.
I have to ask you.
Yes.
Is it the year of the Chud in the land of the Chud?
Man, if we find the land of Chud where there's no government, shout out to Jim. Poor Jim. We miss you, Jim. Can't wait for your next show. All right. Anyway, what was I doing? Agartha. So then in the article about Agartha, I was finding a lot of hints. And this only came up because Dugin's name is in this article about Agartha, okay, in Tibetan Buddhist Encyclopedia.com. I'll send it to you. It's called the title of the article on Tibetan Buddhist Encyclopedia.com is called From Synarchy to Shambhala. Okay, Dugin is mentioned in this. Now, this is garbage. It's terribly formatted. So I cut the best parts out. I have them here. I'll read them for you, okay? Literally, like you can, and what else was the other one? I've got one here too.
It never ends. It's like putting lipstick on a pig and hollering.
Yes.
It never ends. It's just a Russian version.
Yes, it's a Russian version of the Atlantis BS. So I'm going to read a little bit from this page. Okay. As a consequence, in the 1927, this is where I found out about something I'd never heard of that I sent to you called Agni Yoga. Okay. So it says, as a consequence, in the 1927 version of the Agni Yoga volume Obscena, nice name for a book, Lenin was presented as a messenger of the masters and a servant of evolution. He had become a Mahatma. I cannot do this word. Mahatma, a big soul. Sorry. Further down in the article, it says, so this is important, the use of Agni Yoga and the worship of Lenin. Okay. Further down, it says, in the early 1990s, among an ever-growing followers of the Neo-Eurasianist movement, preeminent in this movement is the above-mentioned Aleksandr Dugin, with his rather close links to both European right-wingers and esoteric traditionalists, such as Saint Yves, Papou, Evola, Guénon, like René Guénon, and more. Began to spread the rumor about the alleged existence of a secret brotherhood of Agartha in the ranks of the GRU. Franco-Romanian writer Jean Parlovescu even added that Vladimir Putin had to be seen as an envoy of this order. In the meantime, the Roerich Society, Roerich, that was another, so I learned of two different things in this article, Agni Yoga and Roerichism, whatever. In the meantime, the Roerich Society could count on some political support and influence, for example, by that of former Prime Minister Evgeny Primakov, a trained Orientalist, and from 1977 to 1985, the director of the Institute of Oriental Studies and the Academy of Sciences, who attended the Roerich Jubilee Conference on the 9th of October, 1999 in Moscow. Oh my gosh. The disaster of the flawed and shady economic policy conceived by the so-called Harvard boys and the Kubaj clan during the early 1990s under the presidency of Boris Yeltsin helped to safeguard against the forces of helped to create social climate in which further westernization was found increasingly strong opposition and provoked calls for periodic patriotic reform that could only safeguard against the fundamentalism. Aleksandr Dugin promoted Eurasianism as a universal opposition to Western-inspired globalization. Avant-garde, again, edgy, and the anti-globalist, the avant-garde of the anti-globalist movement and the foundations of a future Pan-Asian alliance. Both, including Dugin, meaning Dugin and Roerich, Risa, my bad, favored the resumption of activities of the Roerich Foundation on the territory of the Soviet Union. Gorbachev commented on the May meeting of the Roerich Society, "This meeting is our oldest wish. When you consider the roots of Soviet-Indian relations, the first germs of friendship between the two countries are linked to the Roerich family." Pravda, 15th of May, 1987. So we've got two important things to look at here. So where are my notes here? Go over. I'll grab you this. You can pull this up on screen. Oh, I doubled up the link. Oops. What a day. Okay, there you go. Pull that up on screen. People are going to love this. So this is the article for Roerichism, which Dugin favors the resumption of activities on Soviet soil. And Gorbachev comments that the friendship between Russia and India is based on the Roerich family.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. So interesting indeed. So the first thing you're going to notice there is a UN stamp from Mexico with the symbol of Roerichism on it next to them. If you want to read, maybe say just the introduction 3 lines here, and just tell me what you think of this Rorikism that Dugin
It's a spiritual
supports.
culture and social movement that emerged in the United States in the first half of the 20th century, though has been described as thoroughly Russian new religious movement due to its close connection with Russia. The movement centers on a neo-theosophical religious doctrine of Agni Yoga, or the living ethics transmitted by Helena Roerich and Nicholas Roerich. Ah, yeah. When I researched them, they also talked about the plan as well. They were Russian pushers of
They were the Russian
the
planners.
plan. And Nicholas
Yeah.
used to channel. Yeah, I came across them too, okay? That was for
So keep
another
going.
episode of the plan.
This is
all right?
getting, oh yeah.
Agni
we
Yoga
get-
draws ideas from Theosophy, Eastern and Western religions, Vedic and Buddhist traditions, molding them into Russian culture too. Agni Yoga is a spiritual foundation of Rorikism. Ah, so this
Definitely
is,
not Christianity. No Christianity.
No,
Definitely can't have that
no,
in
no.
there.
And so this means the Russians are the true Aryans. But I thought Dugin hated white people. I'm a little bit confused here. I'm so confused. It's like the Nazis thought they were the true Aryans, and the Russians think they're the true Aryans.
So again, this goes back to Wolfram Siever, right? Wolfram Siever was going all over the world trying to prove that every race was descended from the Germans, that they were the original and everyone else was derivative of them. And that they were the Hyperboreans. Whereas Dugin is saying, no, it's not the Germans that are the Hyperboreans, it's the Russians that are the Hyperboreans, but the format of the conclusion is the exact same. All other races are derivative of Russians, therefore we rule the world. They're literally just Russian Nazis. Literally. There is no difference other than it's Russians instead of Germans.
I can't really. Maybe if you can look this up, Free to Captives, I'd be grateful. I tried to take a look, but I didn't see it. He said the Pax Cultura symbol might be the symbol for the new group of world servers. If anybody can look that up, I tried to look, but I didn't see anything. Of course, the Mexico symbol is obviously akin to the United Nations.
Well, yeah. It's a Mexican country stamp, I believe.
And of course, it says Pax Cultura.
Yes.
The true culture being the code of light, the light of fire.
Yes. The all-pervading fire or Agni.
This movement played a significant role in bringing knowledge of Asian religions to the Western world.
Yay! They gave us the weebs.
Okay, yeah.
Fun times. So let's keep going because we ain't done yet.
Okay.
Look at some of the art. There's the cornerstone. Is there an?
Yeah, it's a cornerstone down here in 1929.
They have a building here. I'll send it to you. It's called the Master Apartments. The Master Apartments are named after Master Moira, something that is their version of like Joel Cool, which was Blavatsky, right?
Yeah.
So basically, they were contemporaries of Blavatsky and her, not just contemporaries, but like peers, and they pushed the same thing with the same formula, just putting different names in it.
Yeah, of course. It's copy and paste.
These Helen and Nick
That's
Roerich.
why it's all subjective. That's why the Gnosis, the Mystery Babylon religion, it's, Christianity, Bible-believing Christianity, the belief in God the Father and Jesus Christ being the Logos or the Word, that's objective truth. Whether you like it or not, it is what it is. And so when you have subjective truth, it's all, we're the master race. We have our own ancient culture. We have Hyperborea. We have Atlantis. We have Lemuria.
So I really want to bring this up to the chat. I really want to bring this up for the chat because I've had this theory for literally years. I've been saying this for years and years and years.
But Tartarian is modern, is Dugin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Sorry, I interrupted you. I just got really excited. Right. So we all know of the concept of a blue beam, right? Like a fake alien invasion for the purposes of seizing power or leveraging power over people. As far as I can tell, I'm the person who came up with this, but feel free to. I don't care if I'm not. But I came up with the idea, I think, of a green beam, not a blue beam in the sky, but a green beam on the ground here, in that you could just drop some bricks on the bottom of the ocean and say you found Atlantis, and then use it to support, as long as you insert the correct evidence on the bricks. You know, you write the right runes, or you draw a picture of whatever, the Star of David. You could promote, theoretically speaking, you know, the public is weak-willed and susceptible.
Yes, you can make them believe anything.
You could theoretically, you could use the green beam, you know, you could use Atlantis, Shambhala, friggin' Mount Shasta. I don't care. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the outcome that matters. And you could easily fake it. You could fake finding a body. You could say, oh, look, the Russians are the Hyperboreans. We found the body. You can fake this stuff. I'm sorry. So that's kind of what a lot of this is saying to me, is that eventually, you know, it's like, oh, we found something. Oh, all of a sudden, this race is better than that race. And, you know, things go downhill from there. So, you know, anyway, I'm to the point now where even if those things are real, Hyperborea, Atlanta, I hope we never find them, because of the problems it will cause, because of how people are. They can't have anything nice. They can't just be. I just don't think they're. I don't
think they are real. You know.
I don't think so either. To a certain degree, I still have a little bit of, you know, curiosity.
Well, of course. I mean, yes.
Anyway,
I mean,
But yeah, regardless.
I like to entertain the idea of a hyperdimensional demon that exists known as Bigfoot. You know, but you know.
So go back to the page we were on before, the wiki page for Raricism, and just scroll down. There's a picture of all the Rarics in the White House with FDR signing the Raric Pact.
Yeah. So this was before. This is kind of like akin to George W. Bush
with the Masons,
with the Nohads.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, you're right. You're with the other one.
Nohad laws. It's just read that.
I do have a picture of him surrounded by Masons too, though.
It's just like, okay, whatever, sure, I accept this by now.
Yeah.
FDR's our guy, right?
Right. So the Raric Pact is so get this. So the Treaty on Protection of Artistic and Scientific Institutions and Historic Monuments, or Raric Pact, is an inter-American treaty. The most important of the idea of the pact is the legal recognition that the defense of cultural objects is more important than the use or destruction of that culture for military purposes. And the protection of culture always has precedence over any military necessity. That's what that was. And they basically went around. So if you click on Raric Pact right there in the picture, it'll take you there. And then if you scroll down slightly,
and I've never heard anybody ever talk about this. All
Neither
right.
have you'll see flag. They hung flags.
I didn't even hear Bill Cooper talk about this in Mystery Babylon series.
Me neither. No.
I'm not saying no one ever has, but I was going to talk about this because some of it because I came across it with the plan, but.
And that's how these two disparate subjects that we've been researching intersect all of a sudden. What a coincidence, almost as if you were being led to the truth. Anyway, moving on. So the Raric Pact, you scroll down, there's a picture on the right, a black and white photo of them hanging the Raric flag, the 3 dots from whatever it is, from some important building so basically that was supposed to be like a red cross. Like if you saw that on something, you couldn't blow it up or whatever. Okay, whatever. But so I guess it just screams of universalism and like proto-United Nationism, you know? Yeah. That's just what it seems like to me. Oh, what else we got? So we got the article
this
here.
Explains why Aleksandr Dugin just hates white people so much, huh? Just come home to Russia. All the pizza stuff. Okay, and everything. That was because of white kids that were 18-year-old, 17, 16-year-old in their parents' basement playing video games. It's your fault. It's your fault, all the corruption of the deep state of the United States.
I forgot about that clip.
Dugin said that. Dugin said that. What a piece of human garbage he is.
Yeah, he blamed everyone, yeah. All right, so last thing we'll bring up on the topic of Raricism is I just sent you the article for Agni Yoga, and if you want to just read a little bit of a description of that to tie it into what we all already know, people can file it away where it belongs.
Agni Yoga, or the living ethics, or the teaching of life, is a neo-theosophical religious doctrine transmitted by Helena Roerich and Nicholas Roerich from 1920s. The term Agni Yoga means mergence with divine fire, or path to mergence with divine fire. This term was introduced by the Roerichs. The followers of Agni Yoga believe that the teaching was given to the Roerich family and their associates by Master Moriah, the guru of the Roerichs, and of Helena Blavatsky, one of the founders of the modern Theosophical movement and Theosophical Society. Some most significant features of Agni Yoga are cosmism and universalism.
Cosmism is what Dugin is expressly opposed to in his. Remember when we were discussing futurism and transhumanism? He vehemently opposes Russian cosmism, and yet he supports Rerickism. The guy is a walking human contradiction.
He claims that he's against transhumanism. However, he's for Russian cyborgs. Okay, when Russia, I'm from Russia. I'm Aleksandr Dugin, and I'm for Russian cyborgs. When Russia do it, we do it right. So, sorry. It is what it is. So. Yeah. The World Organization of Culture of Health.
I think my internet's dying.
Oh, the Russian Orthodox Church criticizes Agni Yoga as the New Age. Oh. It does it? S90 there. Yeah, I was coming across the Roerichs when I was researching the plan the other night. So they were going to be part of my second plan.
I'm back. Sorry.
So supposedly the Russian Orthodox Church is against Agni Yoga and the Roerichs. So, and I do believe that there are born-again believers in the Russian Orthodox Church despite of the Russian Orthodox Church. Okay? So, go ahead.
Of course. I always am going to defer to belief in the individual in all cases. I don't care what topic it is. I'm still going to defer to the individual. But overall, this organization is absolutely what it appears to be.
Yes.
What can I say? I mean, Master Mora has his own page and stuff. Whatever. H.P. Blavatsky originally described the existence of a spiritual master whom she considered her guru and who went by, among other names, Moria. So Kutumi, Jwalkul, and Mora are all the same entity.
Some demons.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. Blavatsky wrote that Master Mora and Kutumi belonged to a group of highly developed humans known to some as the Great White Brotherhood. I'm really having to try hard not to swear right now. This is friggin' ridiculous. Okay, I'll send you one last thing about Agni Yoga before we move on to the second of these weird things. I think if you just click on that link, it should bring up the picture. Or I'll just put the picture in chat. There it is. Read the caption of that. It just says the book New Era Community,
which was on board the orbital station of Mir, 1999.
And that's Agni Yoga's holy book.
So they brought it on Mir, like the Freemasons.
Yes.
And the whole nutsack of Jabalan on the moon.
On the moon.
You mean in the sound studio that Kubrick was involved in the desert, United States. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Okay.
Disinformation. Who do I contact? Okay, anyway, moving on. Got a couple pictures here from a book. Just a quick one there. It says the Rerich group in Kazan is engaged in an interesting hybridization of Agni Yoga.
Just sent me a video of a woman behind the flag speaking. Okay, you ready?
Do it.
Okay.
Bothered me. And then I realized
I can't hear anything.
The teachings remind us that senior disciples, initiates, masters, Mahashohans, they each represent an army of light. An army of light.
Hold on, I'll play it again. Let me share the audio.
Okay. Sorry, boss.
No, that was my fault. Sharing options. Where is it? I can't remember where the share the audio is.
Well, it was doing it earlier, and I didn't mind. I was just listening on the stream. Plus, I know all the
All right,
videos.
now, here we
anyway.
go. Okay, let's go.
Thanks, boss.
that we remember that humanity is losing its way. And they
Yeah, thanks to you
will
guys.
inspire the new group of world servers. That means that, once again, let me say
Yeah,
this, we
the
are
world
not
servers.
alone
Wow,
as
okay. Yeah, you're
a
right, Freedom
humanity.
Captives. God bless you,
So
brother.
what better
Ba-dum.
time during the holidays and the holy days that we remember these things?
Yikes.
Let me begin the talk.
Oh, boy.
Well, there you go, John. There you
Lucius
go, bud.
Trust. Bing,
I
bang,
can't.
bong.
Great find, FTC, man. That was insane. So,
It's
yeah,
from-
no,
yes,
it's more
yes,
than
it's
kind
from-
of relevant.
Yes, it's from the Lucius Trust. They all interconnect.
Yes. So we just linked Dugin to the Lucius. Well, we linked Dugin to Rerichism and Rerichism to the Lucius Trust and
Yep.
Theosophy.
Yep.
And okay, let's keep
United
moving on
Nations
then.
that Dugin claims he
Holy.
hates, which is Atlantean. Dugin's just a walking contradiction of
And
chaos.
remember the video I sent you before? He was like, "I move the pieces like Brzezinski tell me to."
Yeah, people want to tell me that Brzezinski and Dugin they weren't working together. Ah, come on. Come on.
So this is from another book then. The Rerik group in Kazan is engaged in an interesting hybridization of Agni Yoga and Sufism. And outside the country, Rerik's 1926 to 1927 residence in an overwhelmingly Buddhist Ulaanbaatar, which is the capital of Mongolia, has recently been commemorated by the transformation of his quarters into a house museum with support from the Mongolian government.
And there
That's
you got
cool.
the festival work week of the new group of world servers free to capture.
And there's
send that to me.
The flower of life thing that
Yep.
Nassim Harriman and Foster Gamble say is the shape of free energy devices.
Oh, so then we have Thrive. Shout out to Arturo Tofoyski. And then you have David Icke and Barbara Marx Hubbard and Alex Jones being in the first Thrive documentary all together.
I traced Foster Gamble's lineage back to the Gambles. He really is them.
Yes.
But the Gamble side of the family has covered it up, but the other side has not. And I have that file saved, so don't bother deleting it. If you're listening, read. Anyway, moving on. So
Catherine Austin Fitz.
Fitz,
She's our gal, right? Catherine Austin Fitz.
Yeah.
And some people in this
Stephen
documentary,
Greer,
some of them got mad at Foster Gamble and denounced it after it was done. But people that didn't, Alex Jones, David Icke, Stefan Molyneux,
because they believe it for sure.
and Catherine Austin Fitz. But I thought, and Alex Jones, I thought all these people were fighting against the New World Order of Love and Light, the Brave New World Order of Love and Light. I guess they're not. So Barbara Marx Hubbard was in there.
FTC has Luke Rudkowski has a shirt with that symbol on it.
It seems about right.
Seems about right, and that might be what we're looking for. So thank you again, FTC. So Agni Yoga with the support of the Mongolian government, I guess. And then the second picture is a second quote from the same book.
It never ends. It never ends.
Yeah, like I've deleted like 2 whole windows worth of evidence just to fit this all in. So anyway, on a related note, neo-Eurasianists such as Aleksandr Dugin have encouraged a free-floating association between Rerikite thought and their own quasi-millenarian version of a Russia rising to glory over the Atlantic West, although this is not an association sought for by the MTSR or Agni Yogists in general. So that's okay. Fair enough. So now I want to go back to one other thing here. We're going to go and we're going to look at, I told everyone about another name earlier, Rovner, R-O-V-N-E-R, popped up a bunch of times when we talked about the Ujinsky Circle. So I'm going to send you this. It's the article just titled Slavic Native Faith in Russia. Now, I know a lot of people poo-poo using Wikipedia, and I'm using that a lot in this show. I'm almost doing it. I know what Wikipedia is.
If you could check the sources, it's worth it.
That too. But it's not even that. It's literally how pathetically easy this stuff is to find.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm literally using the dumbest, most banal bad source, and it's just still all there.
Oh, Be Still and
It's
Know says, I've
ridiculous.
noticed that the Academy of Divine Knowledge website removed their teachers from view unless you're a member. I bet they did after I covered
Kind of like the
it.
Council for National
After I
Policy did
covered
after you
it.
covered it.
Yeah, after I covered it, and Dr. June Knight covered it, and Higo Talks covered it, among others. Yeah, I wonder why.
What did Free the Captives put here? GCC Alliance? Honorary Planetary Citizen of the Month, Luke Rudkowski. Excuse me. I apologize
whoa,
to everyone
what?
there. Yeah. What? Like, you literally made me... you literally made me burp.
Hey, you guys, Luke Rudkowski, speaking... oh no. I can't. I quit. I'm done. Not because of Luke Radowski, but Global Community Communications Alliance honors those citizens who stand for truth and service to humankind, goes above and beyond the call of duty. It is displayed by exemplary action for the furtherance of true justice, tolerance, and higher consciousness for the world and the world to come. I'm done. I'm out. I can't. I gotta take a break.
Okay. Do you want to play a song for
Jim
5 minutes? Get
Jones?
yourself some water
No,
or
I'm
something?
good. I'm good.
You're good?
Call of
Okay,
Duty
okay.
endowment. Just for the love.
It never ends. It's like a circle. It's like a circle. It just goes round and round and round.
Praise God.
Yikes.
God, thank you for pulling me out of this nonsense.
DJ asks, what is Luke up to? Luke was the co-host of Tim Pool's podcast for a while. And then one day they woke up and he was literally gone. And he wasn't on the show that night. And everyone was like, no, Luke, we puke. No, Luke, we puke. And then like 2 weeks went by and he never came back. And eventually Tim just said, like, Luke, all your stuff's here. Are you coming back to get it? And then in his videos that he uploads now, he's living in Florida with a dog. So he just like left in the middle of the night from Tim Pool's like compound left all his stuff there and just moved to Florida. So that's what's up with Luke Rudkowski.
I met Luke Radowski at the Red Shield Expo. All I can say is this is me and my friend Ensemble Vide, who's been on this channel, and he can attest to this. The first day, Luke Radowski was a major diva, and I believe it was because allegedly he hadn't gotten his fix. He got into town, hadn't gotten his fix.
Oh, it's like what, remember, it's like what Putin, or not Putin, it's like what Dugin said in his Hans Siever album, the pink cocaine tickles your nose.
Please pray for Luke Radowski that he gets saved. And please.
Shout out to Ensemble Vide. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
He's doing well. We're so
good.
He's I talk to him almost on a weekly basis.
Good to hear, because we got to stick together, man, because they stick together. Why shouldn't we?
Yeah, it's true. It's true Christians.
Right. BS. So anyway.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, so I brought up Slavic faith in Russia, and I was talking about before a guy called Arkady Rodnover. Flippin' heck. Anyway, so another one of the Uzinski Circle guys has another religion here called Rodnovery, and it's popular with old believers as well. And if you scroll up to the top, I sent you a look at that logo in the top right corner there. Slavic Native Faith. Good times. So scroll down a little bit. Where was it? Was it Dugin was in here? Yes. So if you just type in Control F Dugin. Ay, caramba, man.
Okay, I'll read this. Since the 1990s, traditionalist school thinkers, chiefly René Guénon and the Italian pagan philosopher Julius Evola, were translated and introduced in the very mainstream of Russian thought by philosopher Aleksandr Dugin, who has an influential position in contemporary Russian academic and political life. Yeah, you know, also likes those traditional school thinkers as well? Stephen K. Bannon. In the 1980s, Dugin became a member of the Yashinsky Circle, an occult proto-Rodnover group influenced by Guido von List and Aryan mysticism, founded by the poet Yevgeny Golovin.
And that was the guy he was the one in the homeless shelter with the microphone talking about love. Dugin was there. That's Golovin, and he was the founder of Uzinski. Mamlev. That was Mamlev. That was the guy who went to Cornell and then to Paris because the U.S. and Russia wouldn't publish him. Okay. Keep going. And
the
Vladimir
philosopher
Stepanov.
Vladimir Stepanov in the 1960s. According to the scholar Robert A. Saunders, some strains of Roddenberry have become close supporters and components of Eurasianism. The dominant ideology of the Russian central government, whose prominent contemporary proponent is Dugin himself.
Oh, bro, just wait. This is
Oh, dear
where it gets. This is where I am going to show something absolutely insane. Open that. This is a different version of the same article from WikiWand, which is basically a summary. Anyway, if you scroll down to Ukrainian and Russian Rodnover's involvement in the war in Donbass, read that. Read this.
I came across this. Okay, this is when I get to talk about my part. Okay. Roddenberry has a significant role in the war in Donbass, with many Rodnevers forming or joining armed forces. Some of them, for example, those of the Sarvarzik Battalion, have been fighting in favor of Russia. Other Rodnovers, such as those of the Azov Battalion, have taken the side of Ukraine. The war stirred different reactions among Rodnovers in Ukraine. Those belonging to the native Ukrainian national faith viewed Russia as the aggressor, and adherents of the Rodnover organizations like the Ancestral Fire of the Native Orthodox faith more commonly saw Russians and Ukrainians as brothers and believed the conflict was caused by the machinations of the United States. Russian Rodnover military formations in Donbass include the Servarog, the Verog, and Rusak formations and the Rodnovers within the Russian Orthodox Army. Observers have highlighted the Russian Rodnovers have been proselytizing in the region with endorsement of Russia under the name Orthodoxy and preaching the concept of the new Russian world, and that their beliefs have even permeated their Orthodox Christian church.
Whoa, what do you think about that?
Oh, dear God.
That literally, Free the Captives put in a blushing emoji in chat. Yeah, that's messed up. That's literally messed up. Like, they are... what do I say? What am I supposed to say? And then this was the last thing, the last piece I have for you guys. Oh, did something happen to the stream?
No, we're still live.
Oh, sorry. Okay. This is the last thing I wanted to send. I'm really disappointed in sending this to you. Really disappointed in myself for reading this, but
I've read a lot of stuff that I wish, for the research, I just wish you didn't read.
Read this entire thread. There's 6 pages.
I got to read all 6
go up
pages
to the top. No, sorry, not 6 pages, 6 posts. Sorry, six posts. My
Alexander Dugin admitted that the ideal empire will be the communist theocracy.
Look at the website.
Oh, the joy of Satan.
Okay, go read. Yeah, let's see what happens here. Don't bother clicking on the link; it's dead.
Oh dear. National Satan. Alexander Dugin admitted that the ideal empire will be the communist theocracy. In this ideal empire, the people who believe in individuality will be oppressed. Of course, he eats Atlanteanism. I mean, for the love of...
So next post.
Because that guy is a communist rat.
Next.
My Russian is bad. I haven't used it since primary school.
So then they give him a translation. And then this last post. Oh, no, second last.
Dugin is a Jew.
This last post. Read this. This
Greed
tells you more.
is psychotic babble when you actually read it. Women will all have nice hats. Bears will plow the fields. Talking bulls will serve wine to travelers. People should eat art. However, it still spews some revealing statements that only JOS would understand.
Joy of Satan.
When it indicative of what this thing taps into. Mal and Satan hated to touch money because their bodies were full of angelic presence. What? The philosopher Rabiu will be an... What? The larger the angel within a man, the smaller the ego. The economy will be abolished.
So the Joy of Satan forum users read Dugin's work and say, it's neat that there's things that only Satanists would notice in this book.
Yeah. And that
Thanks
they would,
for pointing that out,
not only notice, but would believe.
And agree with.
Wow. I got to get
I thought that was the perfect thing to end it on. I have one last thing for you. This is a side note. I found a interesting news paper, I guess, publication. And I can't tell what it is. I can't tell who makes this. I can't tell where this is coming from. And I can't tell what side this is on. Okay. So it's called corrispondenzaromana.it. It's an Italian newspaper. And this is one of the articles that came up when I searched for Dugin.
George Soros and Aleksandr Dugin, two sides of the same coin. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have to really read the whole thing. It is long. At the end here, he just says, they're similar and different ultimately. But I thought that was very, very curious. He mentions Gary Lockman and whatnot. Very good research on this part. So it says, both present themselves as prophets of postmodern chaos and oppose the Catholic Church because it is the depository of the divine and natural law which they reject. So this is a Catholic newspaper.
Yes, of
okay,
course.
So please, let's just separate the message from the messenger. So for this reason, Dugin and Soros appear as two sides of the same coin, and thus we oppose the lies they propose with the one truth of he who has given his light to the darkness and his order to chaos. Okay, great. So the same newspaper, they literally have a category called Masoneria. So it's literally an entire section of their paper is dedicated to masonry.
Yeah, of course.
I thought that was curious.
It's the so-called eternal struggle between the Catholics and
Masons
the Masons.
and Catholics.
And I mean eternal struggle in quotation marks. But continue.
This is the last one. I know who the owner of this is. Not very interesting guy as far as I could tell. Not particularly important, but this was an interesting article that I think you will like personally. So I'm just sending this. You pull it up on screen, share it with chat. Tell me what you think. I don't know what to make of this guy. He might be our guy. He might be. I don't know what this guy is.
Nah, there are Catholics that don't like Vegano. It's common.
Okay,
There's Catholics that don't like Vegano, and there's Catholics that hate.
Okay.
There's Catholics that dislike Francis and Vegano. So
This guy hates Francis.
this guy, who is a real author of the writings of Archbishop Carlo Maria Vegano, who does he say? I don't want to read all this.
I
Who
don't.
Does he say?
I was working on Dugin, and I didn't want to get too sidetracked by this, so I just thought this was of interest. That this, and it's talking about Kirill.
Vigano 2 defines this prayer as Talmudic offertory. What?
You're the expert, my bud. You're the expert.
I'm going to send this to Fitzpatrick Informer and just be like, dude, what? Because he's going to have more Catholic knowledge than me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to send it to him and say, hey, I know some Catholics. Look, we disagree. I think the Catholic Church is obviously in a fallen state. However, I do believe that there are, born-again believers within the Catholic Church, and they need to come out of the Catholic Church. And there are people who are not born-again believers in the Catholic Church, and they need to come out of the Catholic Church, and they need to repent and through grace through faith be saved. They need to call out earnestly to the Lord and believe and then repent of all their pagan customs that they took part of and idolatry they took part of in the fallen Catholic Church. I don't care who that hurts. It's the truth. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's realistically, that's the end of the stuff that I was finding. I have all those links that you sent me earlier.
Yeah, I'll do that. We'll have to do that another stream. It's getting late over here. So we owe you another. I thought this was going to be the last one, but it is not.
It never ends, bro.
So next time you don't have to do anything. I have it all, MWC.
Oh, well.
You can give commentary.
Of course. Yeah.
But as far as there ain't no more digging or anything for that, because I was supposed to cover
Not right now.
I was supposed to cover my stuff the last stream.
Yes, you were supposed to cover your stuff in the second half of the first stream.
Yeah, so
because you read his book, and that's literally the culmination of all of this is him writing that book, The Great Awakening versus The Great Reset. That's what all this is building to.
Yes.
And now we can see that The Great Awakening is Satanism. And I'm friggin' sick of it.
Yes.
And I'm sure you
just
are
as much
too.
as The Great Reset is Satanism too. It's just dark to light. And also remember, within God, there is no dark. There is no duality. Yeah. So yes, it's the duality of Satan.
Darkness is wrought. It's not just, it's a shadow and it can be cast out by the light. It's literal wrought, like a cavity. It doesn't just fix itself.
All right,
Ugh,
everybody.
anyway, and I have to point out, someone's talked about the Jesuits in chat. The Jesuits routinely attack the guy who owns this Correspondenza Romana.
That's interesting.
So I thought that was, so there's a very tangled web going on here. Like you've got Mason Sufis attacking Dugin, and Dugin aligning himself with yoga Sufis and Theosophy and Rodnovers and Rarikists and Azov. Like it's literally both sides of everything at this point.
Yeah. All I could say
it
is
never
don't
ends.
trust Dugin. He's a Satanist.
Don't trust the plan.
Don't trust the plan either. It's satanic too. Trust God. All right, everybody. That is it. I got nothing else. Take care, everybody. God bless. Say goodbye, everybody. S90. Thank you for all
God
your excellent
bless.
research.
Stay safe, everyone.
And to those
See you
researchers
next
that
time.
helped us out there that remain, nameless, unless you want me to give you credit, and I will. Thank you very much. God bless everybody.
Yes,
Take
thank
care.
you.